conference. Please confirm that you can hear me loud and clear. Welcome to today's amazing end of year conference. And we're going to be having a very, very interesting conversation today. Okay, please confirm that my screen is also up so that we can immediately jump into our conversation for today. It's going to be an interesting one because today with me I have our founder Adeza Suleiman, and we're going to be having a very interesting conversation around your mid-career advantage and how you can turn your work experience into your superpower in the tech ecosystem. Okay, and if you know anybody that's going to benefit from this conversation we are having today, please feel free to share the link with them, whether it's your friend, your family member, even your worst enemy, anybody that you know that's going to benefit from this conversation. Please feel free to share the link to this call with them. Okay, but before we jump right into it, we'd love to know you and also get to know where you are joining us from. Okay, so simply type in your name and also the location of where you are joining us from today. I can see a lot of people on the call. I can see Agnes, Angela, Bumi, Chinwe, Chris, Chuma, and other people. Okay, just your name and also where you are joining us from so that we can do a quick attendance of people that we have here on the call. I can see Kemi. Kemi is joining us from United Kingdom. It's good to have you on the call, Kemi. I can see Chris from Dubai. I can see Adeza that is also joining us from Alberta, Canada. Can see NK from United Kingdom. I can see Peter from UK as well. So it means that we'll have more people joining from UK today than other countries. I've seen up to 5 UK. Can see Linda joining from France. It's good to have you on the call, Linda. Can see Agnes from UK. I can see Chuma from Alberta, Canada. Adeza, I have someone that is beside you in your location. Have Jim Francis joining from Nigeria as well. Have Celestina joining from United Kingdom. It's good to have you all on the call. I think I've seen UK, I've seen France, I've seen Canada, I've seen Nigeria. I've seen, I've seen Portugal. I have Priscilla joining from Portugal as well. And also Mark from Australia. That's 6 countries that we have right now on the call. It's good to have you all in this very mid-year conference. I can also see Linda from United States of America and also Pascal from Ghana. That brings us to the 9th country that we have. And this is the beauty of conversations like this. Okay, because right on this call, you can even build a network that you're looking for. It can be in US and you're already building a pathway with someone in Ghana. It can be in UK and you're already building it with somebody in Australia. So these are the beauties that always happen when we have sessions like this. And today, I promise you that before we are done, we're definitely going to connect with one person, maybe in your location or outside your location, to also be able to improve on what you are looking to achieve come 2026. So we're going to jump right into it. So today, we're going to be talking about how to turn 10 plus years of work experience into your tech superpower in 2026. Okay, the truth is that some people, when we're talking about a new year, they wait till we enter January before they can start making plans towards what they want to achieve that year. But if you want your 2026 to be, to start off the right way, it means that you need to plan it starting December. Okay, and today, what we're going to be having today, the mid-career advantage end of the year conference, will also set you on that pathway towards achieving any of these things. Okay, now moving on, who exactly have been speaking to us for the last couple of minutes? Which company, who are we that has been talking to? So we are Analytics, and we are the leading educational technology company that is helping people to break into several tech career paths. Okay, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and we've helped over 3,000 people move from our own classroom into landing several jobs outside there in UK, US, Canada, Europe, Africa, and of course, Asia. From the introduction that we just did right now, you can see the extent of the reach that we always have when we have conversations like this. And we've done this in different career paths, ranging from data analytics to data science to cybersecurity to data engineering, a lot of different orders. And how have we been able to do this? By utilizing what we call the experience learning. Okay, so you learn using the experience of people that you are actually going to be experiencing in the classroom. Okay, and that's what we've done for the last 5 years. So I'm going to bring up Adeza to speak to us about who he is before we now continue with everything that we are talking about. Hi, Adeza.
All right. Hi, Chukwemeka. Thanks for that wonderful introduction. Confirm you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up if I'm loud and audible before we kick off. Okay, fantastic. All right. So my name is Adeza Suleiman. I'm the founder of Tenalytics. My experience spans across data analytics, management consulting. I've worked as a data scientist, data engineer, and so on and so forth. But the interesting thing is I had no tech background. My first degree was in industrial chemistry right out of the university. And my first job out of the university was as a management consultant. But I was able to transition and pivot the same strategy that is replicable and scalable. We've used that same strategy for over 3,000 people that have made similar transitions. I currently work as a data analytics, data engineering contractor in Canada. I've worked as a data science consultant in the US, working remotely while in Nigeria. And I've lived and I've worked in the UK as a customer, as a customer insight analyst, as a data science consultant. I've worked with one of the largest privately owned energy conglomerates in sub-Saharan Africa as a management information systems analyst and as a data analyst. And I've worked with FITC, my foray into the financial services sector as a data analytics consultant. FITC is owned by the Bankers Committee and the Central Bank of Nigeria. And my experience spans across multiple sectors, from sports to financial services, educational technology, automobile, and so on. The interesting part is, over the last 5 years, like Chukwuemeka said, the focus for us has been on helping people like you make that same transition. All right. We've helped accountants become project managers. We've helped nurses become business analysts. We've helped healthcare assistants, care workers become data analysts, data scientists, and we'll be sharing exactly how they were able to do that. The framework to getting started. And Chukwuemeka said something that was very profound. All right. You don't plan for 2026 in 2026. You're not going to build that habit all of a sudden by magic in January 2026. You start working now, you start building now, and that's how you get to succeed. So we'll share a whole lot today. All right, in the next 1.5 hours, thereabouts. So get your notepad, get your pen, make sure you have no distractions, invite somebody that you think would benefit from this session. And that's a bit about myself, and I'm sure I'll share a whole lot more as that session rides on today. Over to you, Chukwuemeka.
All right. Thank you so much, Adeza. That's a wonderful introduction. And who am I that I'll be speaking to you also for the last couple of minutes? My name is Chukwuemeka Iba, and I'm the CEO here at Analytics. But even before assuming the role of the CEO, I've worked in several different sectors of the economy as well. I've worked in financial services, I've worked in capital markets, in hospitality, and right now in the educational technology space. Okay, as a business growth consultant in the hospitality space, as a data analyst in the fintech ecosystem, as head of control in the fintech industry, GRC in the banking, and presently I am also serving as a talent developer across Africa and Europe. And you're going to be hearing from both of us today, learning every single thing that you need to take advantage of the mid-career, okay? Because many of us sometimes will think that breaking into tech, you need to shift away from every single thing that you've known before. Now, that is not so. And today, we're going to be showing you the right frameworks that you are actually going to be utilizing to make this happen. And if you're just joining us, please make sure that you fill the attendance form, because with that attendance form, we have to share the slide and the recorded version of this conversation with you. Okay, so that even if you drop off at any point, you can always have the slide with you to always go through it. So I'm going to be handing over to Adeza now to kickstart the conversation, where I come in later to also chip in one or two things. Hi, Adeza, over to you.
All right, so let's get to the main meat of our session, okay? So make sure you fill the attendance like Chukwuemeka said, and don't drop off, even though you fill the attendance. Chukwuemeka, let me share my screen. Maybe you can stop
All right.
sharing and I'll go ahead and share mine.
Okay.
All right, so let's get cracking. A lot of things happened in 2025. What you planned, how it started, and how it ended. But for us at Tenalytics, 2025 has been our most successful year till date. How did 2025 start? Did people get jobs? Because that's the big question. Were there jobs in 2025 across the major economies, across where our participants, our students came from? Absolutely. So how did we start the year? When we had our first session, something similar to what we are doing today, we had achieved 355 by 2024. So we achieved 355 people that had landed jobs in 2024, but we said we needed to do a whole lot more, help more people land jobs in 2025. Now, how is it going and how have we stuck to that goal? 2025 so far till date, year to date, we've achieved 426 and counting simply because the year is not over yet and so many other job roles would come up and people would land jobs before the end of 2025. So 2024, and this is about, I think about 12% growth or thereabouts compared to last year, same time 2024. So 2024, 355, 2025, 426. And the big question is, people got jobs. If you haven't gotten a job, if that was your plan in 2025, the big question is, what did I do wrong? What wasn't I doing right? These people that landed jobs in 2025, what did they do? And we have people on the call here that would come share their experience and how they were able to transition, how they were able to get jobs. Okay, so our session today, I would lead it with strategies on what you need to do. Chukwemeka would show you how to turn your experience. You have 10 years in aviation. You have 5 years in banking. You have 2 years as a care worker. How do you turn that into work experience that serves as an advantage for you getting into the tech ecosystem? So looking at the major economies, the UK, the US, Canada, across board, across Europe, in Africa, what really happened in 2025? These 426 plus people that landed jobs across these regions, the jobs actually grow. Let's look at the UK, for example. Tech jobs grew in 2025 despite the challenging economy. So many uncertainties surrounding the UK this year, 2025, from immigration policies, immigration changes, and so on and so forth. However, despite all of that, the tech jobs within the UK still grew at an astronomical rate. Not so fantastic, but grew to a large extent. And that helped across the major cities in the UK. All right. So looking at the jobs that outpaced other occupations within the tech ecosystem, you have the IT director roles, you have the programmers and the software developers, you have the data analysts, you have the web design professionals, you have the business analysts and the business architects. And looking at the regions that accounted for these growth in job roles, you had London, about 10%, Edinburgh, Leeds, Bristol, Manchester, Birmingham, Belfast, Glasgow, Newcastle, Nottingham, and so on and so forth. All right. So the jobs grew in the UK. Now, why is this important? It's important because we need to deal with facts, especially in a time of chaos and uncertainty. Looking at the US, similar trajectory. The tech job postings in the US grew by over 33% month on month. So the jobs within the tech ecosystem every month grew by at least 33%. And this signified a strong demand within the tech ecosystem. And if you look at some of the popular roles, the key statistics, the tech job postings, about 33% increase month on month. The unemployment rate dropped within the tech ecosystem. You had just 2.9% compared to the overall national average in the US of about 4%. So what does this tell you? Categorically, that there are jobs. Maybe not at the rates of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, but the job market within the tech ecosystem is still growing month on month, year on year. So what I've done is I've also kept the links to these articles so you can always go back, read them, and get a good idea of how the market played out in 2025 and what is in store for 2026. So in the UK, the job market grew. In the US, it grew. And in Canada as well. Canada is set to achieve at least 1.4% expansion, which represents about 1.4 million workers within the tech ecosystem by the end of 2025. And for those living in Canada, you would understand it's been a challenging 2025 across the economy in general. But the tech ecosystem still grew by at least 1.4% compared to the previous year. And this growth was led by AI, cybersecurity, data science roles, among other roles. All right. And of course, you have the article right here. Any of these articles, you click on the link, it takes you to the report. All right. So you have the opportunity to go read it, understand exactly what played out in the market, and how can you start positioning yourself to achieve success, just like the 426 plus people that achieved success. So if I click on this link, for example, it takes me to the tech jobs in Canada set for continued growth and the major provinces that achieved significant growth. Ontario, which is expected, Alberta, standing at number 2. So the big question again is, how do I lock in and key into the opportunities within the space? To have access to all the slides, to have access to all the materials, all the links, make sure you fill the attendance so you don't miss out on anything. So what's in store for 2026? Very important. So 2025 will be over in the next less than 2 weeks. And the big question is, what's in store for 2026? How do I prepare myself? I promised I was going to get into a high-paying job. I promised I was going to leave that menial job. I promised I was going to leave that care work, leave that warehouse job, and land a proper job, a progressive job, land a job that would continue to be in demand in the next 5 to 10 years. So what's in store for 2026? The tech job market is expected to still grow at a much faster rate than the average growth over the last 2 years. So comparing 2024 and 2025, the tech job market is expected to still grow at a much faster rate. And looking at the US, for example, looking at the outlook, 2026 tech job statistics, you'd realize that this growth in the US would also be pushed by specific type of skills and specific career path. Now, why is it important to know the career path that are in high demand? If I'm in a career path that is in high demand, I would have solved at least 20% of me landing that job. Because if there's high demand, then I can get a job very fast because employers need me. Employers want me. If there are opportunities for growth within a particular career path, I want to be there because these are the opportunities available. Employers want to hire for these roles, and I would lock into those roles, gain the skills, gain work experience, apply to those jobs, and land those jobs. The data science and the data analyst role would grow by 414% in the next 10 years in the US, 367% in cybersecurity, data engineering, and so on and so forth. Then you have the software developers, the software testers, software engineers, QA testers, and so on. So if I want to land a job today and I'm in the US and I want to see the career path that has room for growth, where opportunities will be created in the next 10 years, not just in the next 2 years or the next 1 year, the next 10 years, I'd look at data analytics and data science closely because that will grow by 414%. High demand, high possibility of landing a job. Same in the UK. The top areas, the top skills you want to get into in the UK, AI, machine learning, data science, cybersecurity, data analytics, business intelligence and reporting. Again, you can see data analytics in the UK, data analytics in the US. data science, machine learning, cybersecurity in the UK, cybersecurity in the US, cloud engineering, software applications development, and so on. And of course, in Canada as well. The 2026 job market outlook is absolutely amazing and promising. If you look at the areas for the in-demand skills, you'd see the cloud tools. So you know how to use Azure, you know how to use AWS, you know GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Microsoft Excel, you know how to code using Python as a data engineer or data scientist, or you're a data analyst, or you're in cybersecurity. You start to find yourself as in a unique set of opportunities with skills that will make you competitive for those jobs. So it's good to look at the landscape and look at where the opportunities would be. Because if you know this, landing that job becomes a lot easier for you because you know the right career path to key into, you know the skills to learn based on your region. So preparing for 2026 is absolutely important. Planting the seed today is what would enable you stand in front of people and say, hey, I landed a job. I took this action in 2025. I landed a job in 2026. So that's what is in store in the US, in the UK, in Canada, across Europe, across Africa, the career path that are in high demand, the career path that would grow in demand. So in 2026, the job market would not be kind to people that are not prepared. You haven't prepared today. A lot of people ask me, Adeza, how did you do it? To tell your story, it's always very inspiring. All right. I might not have the time to tell my full story today, but I did management consulting out of the university. I studied industrial chemistry. How did you transition? I prepared. I took a step, and step after step, I learned the skill, and I would walk you through exactly what you need to do. What I did, what over 3,000 people have done, and what you can start to do today. But preparation, it didn't happen by chance. It was steps of strategic, methodical steps that got me there and that got over 3,000 other people there. So 2026 would only reward people who are ready. And not just ready by doubling down, but ready with the right skills. So do you have the right skills? Do you have the right experience? Do you have the right employability skills? Do you have the right CV? Are you in the right career path? And these are the questions you need to ask yourself. So preparing for 2026 starts today. And question number one on your notepad is, what career path do I want to transition into in 2026? And looking at people who answer that question, they ask themselves that question, they answer the question, and they've landed amazing jobs across multiple regions. And let's start with the US. You have Pavel. Pavel was a teacher back in Cameroon. Pavel had no experience within the data ecosystem, within the tech ecosystem. He joined our data analytics program, completed his program in December 2024. And about 3 months after, in March, he landed a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst. 6 figures, fantastic job in Arizona, Tucson, Arizona in the US. From somebody with an education background as a teacher back in Cameroon to a healthcare data and reporting analyst in the US. That's Pavel's story. We're going to listen to a couple of stories and you'd hear from, some of these professionals yourself. Okay. We would look at time and see how time would permit us to play some of those videos. But Pavel created a video talking about his story and how he was able to transition. You have somebody like Bukola. Bukola was in HR back in Nigeria, but then she moved to the US for her master's. The HR she did back in Nigeria focused on administrative tasks, focused on a lot of expense tracking and so on and so forth. Nothing strategic. So when people complain that HR is a cost center. HR is not strategic. Bukola was in that position. So she moved to the US and she struggled to land interviews. She couldn't even land a job. So she joined our business analysis program in July last year. And by January 2025, she got her first job as a HRIS analyst in the US, Human Resource Information Systems Analyst. And by July, about 6 months after, she landed another job with Evident Microscopy as a senior HR business analyst. So what we did for Bukola was we took her HR background and the business analysis she completed with us. We merged, fused that, looked for skills that converged, and she positioned herself not just as a HR analyst, not just as a business analyst, but as a HR with business analysis skills. And she landed that job as a senior HR business analyst in the US. She also spoke about this in an interview. So all these links will be made available. My slide will be made available to you. So you want to ensure you fill the form. Bukola had no experience. She didn't know how to use Power BI. She didn't know how to use Excel, SQL before she joined. And we have an amazing professional who would come in later to tell his own story. So Emmanuel is with us today. He's right here on the call. Emmanuel is also in the US, just like Pavel, just like Bukola. Emmanuel has a background in accounting. He wanted a high-paying job in the US. He joined our financial analytics program in December 2024. And by October this year, he secured a job as a senior operations consultant with a top-tier bank in the US. And Emmanuel will come, tell his story and walk you through exactly what he did. You'll have the opportunity to ask Emmanuel questions. Again, Emmanuel also created a video right here. So for those of you that go back to, you can watch the video. If you are here on the call, live on the call, you can also ask Emmanuel questions. These are professionals from the US. So the 426 plus people that landed jobs, Emmanuel can count himself as part of them. And it all started from Emmanuel being in a session like this. He joined a session like this. He listened to the success stories and it was like, if these people can do it, then I can do it. And that was what he needed to start his journey. And today, he's achieved success. Just about 2-3 months ago, he landed his job and is doing amazingly well. Again, Emmanuel will come live on the call to speak about his experience and exactly what he did to get him this job and the role Tenalytics played in helping him land the job. In the UK, you have somebody like Gad. Gad had a mechanical engineering background back in Nigeria. He moved to the UK for his master's, just like so many people move to the UK for their master's. But one thing that made the difference for Gad was he knew exactly what he wanted to do when he moved to the UK. So he didn't wait until he completed his master's. He joined our data engineering program in July last year. And in January this year, 2025, Gad landed a data engineering role with the NHS on full visa sponsorship. So people look for sponsorship today. I want to get a COS. I want to stay back in the UK. I want to get ILR after 5 years. I want to apply for citizenship. It all starts with getting that job first of all. How do I get the job? And getting the job requires the right skills, the right experience, and so on and so forth. Gad joined our data engineering program, and January this year, he landed a job with the NHS. The actual role, the job title, is a data warehouse and ETL developer. That's a fancy way of saying a data engineer. You also have Esther. Esther has a background in pharmacy back in Nigeria. But when she moved to the UK for her master's, she worked in care. She was a care worker, but she wanted to do something more. She joined our Agile project management program in April this year. And by July, just about 3 to 4 months after joining, she landed a job as a contract project officer with the civil service. in the UK. You have Sharon. Sharon was a healthcare assistant in the NHS. She joined our business analysis program in March, and by May, she landed a job as a business data analyst on sponsorship as well. Then you have the folks from Canada. You have Abednego. Abednego, a Ghanaian who moved to Canada, who struggled to land jobs, struggled to land interviews. He joined our data analytics program in August. And by June this year, 2025, he landed a job as a quality improvement analyst with the city of Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Fire Paramedic Services in Canada. He created a video on how he did it. And these are professionals who are magnanimous to share their story, to tell you how they did it so you can do the same. We have Amaka. Amaka had experience in HR, but Amaka was out of work in Canada for 6 months in Saskatchewan. And for anybody living anywhere in these regions I've highlighted so far, you know what it means to be out of work for 6 months. Amaka was in that position. She saw Tenalytics somewhere. She clicked on the link. She joined a session like this, decided to register for the HR analytics program in July last year. And by January this year, she landed a job as a HR data analyst with Sask Energy in Saskatchewan. Fantastic story. 6 months out of work, she knew I needed to do more. And if you listen to Amaka, she said something in the video. She said, prior to joining Tenalytics, she would have never applied to that job she applied to that got her this, position, simply because she would have felt she did not have the right skills. She did not have the right confidence to put in that application. And that's one of the most important things we do for you. Skills and your ability to execute on the job gives you all the confidence that you need. And you need people that will light the fire under you to also push you to ensure you get that job. You have Toyin. Toyin had experience in aviation back in Nigeria. Her experience was in planning and administration within the aviation sector. Toyin studied English in the university, nothing related to project management. What did we do for Toyin? She came into our Agile project management program in February. We took all her experience in aviation and we extracted transferable skills, all the things she had done that looked like projects she completed or executed or managed or coordinated. We converted them into project management experience. So automatically, almost overnight, Toyin was a professional with over a decade experience handling multiple projects. She backed that up with the skills in project management in her class. And September this year, 2025, she got a job as a project coordinator in Saskatchewan, Canada. So what I'm going to do for you is, when Chukwuemeka walks you through what you need to do, how to convert that your previous work experience to serve as an advantage for you, I'd walk you through Toyin's experience. Okay? I'd walk you through her LinkedIn in 2 minutes or 3 minutes and explain categorically what Toyin did. But that's Toyin's story. English in the university, worked in planning and administration in aviation back in Nigeria, moved to Canada. Toyin is less than 1 year in Canada, less than a year. She's not spent up to a year yet in Canada. So again, she created a video right here talking about her story. It's a fantastic one. I'll try to see if I can play a few minutes of the video in the next couple of minutes, and then you'll get to hear from Toyin. And then I would walk you through her experience again before we wrap up today. And people always ask me this question, Adeza, you talked about the UK, you talked about the US, you talked about Canada. How about other regions? How about Africa? How about Europe? How about other places? Do you have students? Do you have participants from those regions? Absolutely. So I kept a few right here for you. Okay, this is Christian. Christian joined us September last year, 2024. And by July, he landed a job as a data processor and analyst with a company in Nigeria. September 2024, by July, he had landed a job. That's Christian's story. So there's somebody in Africa, somebody in Nigeria, and I want us to do a very quick, interactive, fun exercise. Okay, so I want to showcase a couple of other countries. I've showcased Nigeria as success stories in other region. I want you to tell me, look at the flags and try to guess the country. I have just three countries, okay? So let's know those that were very good in geography back in high school, or those that flunked their geography exams back in high school. So I want you to tell me, if you look at the flag at the bottom of my screen, the white and red flag, what country do you think that is? So type into the chat. I'd like to know from you. Let me see if I can check. Yes. Ah, okay. Somebody said Singapore. Cuba, I may be wrong. Ebby, you are wrong. I didn't wish for you to be wrong, but Ebby, that's wrong. France, no, it's not France. It's not Singapore. It's not Malta. It looks like Malta, Jane, but it's not Malta. So I have two, three people that have gotten it. Fourth, Coyote got it, Poland. The gentleman from Birmingham got it, Poland. Billions got it, Poland. And I think the first person that got it, Adiola, I think you must have gotten an A in geography back in high school. So Adiola got it, Poland, absolutely. All right. So thanks for that. Thanks for that, Adiola. So William was doing his master's in Poland. He's still in Poland. He lives in Poland, resides in Poland, but he left Nigeria, moved to Poland for his master's in civil engineering. He wanted to get into construction. So as a civil engineer, when he moved to Poland, he realized very quickly that to get a job in construction in Poland, he needed to learn Polish. And that would take very long. And he wasn't confident that he could learn Polish and so on. Okay, so what did he do? While doing his program, doing his master's, he joined our data analytics program in January last year. All right. So we worked together. He learned all the skills in data analytics. He made presentations, gained work experience during his internship with us. And by September 2025, just as he was wrapping up his master's, he landed a role with a company in Poland, Marsh McLennan, as a junior strategy analyst. And what does he do? He analyzes the data for them and help them come up with insights that leads to strategic actions for the business. I'll probably play William's video. I want you to listen to him so you hear his story. And then I'll come back to walk you through so many other things. But this is William in Poland, in Europe. Let's look at the next flag. So I want you to guess. Tell me the flag. Where do you think this country is? And let somebody beat Adiola this time. Adiola got it the first time. Adiola again. Adiola again. Okay, so I guess this one is very easy. Or maybe because Adiola selected Ireland, everybody copied Adiola. So it's like when you have exams and you're looking to sit down with the most intelligent person in class. So I guess that's what happened here. So Adiola is right. Joy, Chukuma, fantastic. Okay, so that's Ireland, absolutely. Chukwuebuka lives in Ireland. Chukwuebuka wanted to secure a high-paying job in cybersecurity, and he joined. He joined us in September last year, and by July this year, 2025, he landed a job as a security operations analyst, which is a role in cybersecurity in Ireland. So you have Christian in Nigeria, you have William in Poland, you have Chukwuebuka in Ireland, landing jobs across multiple areas, data analytics, cybersecurity, and we have the last across other regions, okay? Not the least, and also not the only region, but we can't showcase all the regions. We have people from Jamaica, we have those from UAE, Dubai, living in Dubai. Somebody from Egypt landed a job with I think with IBM or Dell, one of these major technology companies. But let's look at the last country. Okay, so tell me, what flag is that? I hope not Adiola. Okay, Adiola decided not to type this time around. Okay. Ebby, you put a question mark in front of it. So is that your final answer? Are you sure that you're choosing France? Or are you doubting? Okay, France, 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 France. Absolutely. Ebby, final answer. You are absolutely correct. So Vanessa, a Cameroonian living in France, she wanted to land a high-paying job in Europe. Okay. According to Vanessa, she had electrical engineering background and she had gone to school after school after school, and she was tired of going to school. She wanted to get a job to pay her bills, pay the high taxes in Europe. So she came into a full stack data science program in July this year. And by November, she hadn't completed her program. She's still with us doing her internship. Same thing happened with, I think it was Chukwebuka. Vanessa was still doing her internship with us and she landed this job as a data analyst with a company in France. So you'd see that the skills and the demand for these skills and career path, it cuts across multiple regions. And the ingredient for success is replicable, it's scalable. If Adiola today decides to be like Vanessa, join data science, follow the same process, should get success, should get a positive outcome because it's a process that works. It's a framework that works. So when you look at all these professionals, I think, let me just play one of the videos, okay? And then I'll come back and show you what exactly did they do? What's this framework Adeza has talked about? What exactly, what approach did they take to ensuring they were able to get success out of the program so that I can start, planning for the same? That's the question everybody wants to answer. Okay. So let's listen to William Patrick. I'm going to click on this. Okay. It's a short video. That's William right there. I want to be sure you'd hear William when I play the video. Let me be sure the audio is okay, loud and clear. So listen to William and how he was able to transition. I'll take you to William's profile on LinkedIn, where he made a job post, where he talked about his transition story. So you get a good picture of how this plays out sometimes. I want you to pick one lesson from there before we come back to continue the session, okay? So let's listen to William.
Hi, my name is William Patrick. I first heard about analytics when I was searching for an online program to build my tech skills and transition into a tech role. So a friend of mine recommended analytics for me via LinkedIn, and I decided to give it a try. My experience as analytics was outstanding. The live classes were engaging, the project were hands-on, and the mentorship section gave me the exact guidance I needed at the time. Also, the CV and drop-in section helped me to polish my presentation skills and my interview skills, and everything felt practical and relevant. So after the completion of my program, I landed a role as a strategic analyst in a financial company, and I can tell you that analytics played a huge role for my current job right now. Now what I'm using in my current job is exactly what I learned in analytics, down from creating dashboard in Power BI and Excel, as well as using SQL, how to present my data, how to generate insight and present those data to stakeholders as well. And I also tell you, if you have the commitment to joining analytics, I did say you should go for it. Don't think much about it. Don't think about the money is so expensive and all that. But I believe me, you get the value for your money. At the end of the day, when you get this tech role, you'll be happy for yourself that, oh, analytics is the real deal. And finally, I want to say a huge thank you to analytics for guiding me all through my learning process, down to me getting a job. So I really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best. Cheers, analytics. Bye.
So that's William. Okay, so what I would do very quickly, still looking at time, I would walk you through William's profile. Okay, and I want you to pick one or two things from William. All right, so let's go to William on LinkedIn. William. Okay, William Patrick. Okay, yeah, that's him right there. So this is William, okay? Now, one thing I want you to pick from here is, and the question you'll get all the time, or that might be running through your mind is, how does a civil engineer become a strategy analyst? And that's where, for some of you here today, you have experience in a different background. You've never done anything within the tech ecosystem, just like William, who was in civil engineering, just like myself, who was a management consultant. I studied industrial chemistry. So one thing you would see across people that have gotten jobs, gone through Analytics, is positioning. You position yourself for the job. So when you join us, you don't join us as a student, you join us as a contractor, you join us as a consultant. So when employers get to engage you, all the projects you've completed in class, all the projects you've completed during your internship, all the things you've solved, all the problems you've solved, the case studies you solved, the collaborations you did with other professionals, they form a story that you get to tell during interviews. This forms your work experience. So that's why you'd see you both worked at Analytics. So if I go to William's profile right here, you'd see that prior to getting this job in October this year as a strategy analyst, William worked with Analytics as a data analyst. What did he do with, Analytics? He designed, delivered custom Power BI dashboards, blah, blah, blah. You can read through and see developed and maintained data validation. And if you look at what he does now with Marsh McLennan, it cuts across the same type of things he did with us. Analyze performance data, KPIs, and SLAs to identify operational trends. So when any employer sees that you're already a data analyst working with a company, they are confident that you can do the job for them. They approach you, ask you to interview with them, and eventually that's how you land the job. You need to show what you have done. If all you do is to tell, you would never get that opportunity to land a job. So a lot of people today, they tell you what they can do, but they don't have portfolios. They cannot show you what they've done. And that's where you fall short. This was where William, he announced the job about 2 months ago. I'm excited to share that I finally joined Marsh McLennan as a strategy analyst. It's been an amazing first few days, and William is doing amazingly well. I gave him a thumbs up right there. Okay. Vanessa, who is in France, got her job without applying. Vanessa got a job from a recruiter reaching out to her on LinkedIn. She just revamped her LinkedIn profile because we work with you to revamp your profile. We show you how to revamp your profile. She revamped her profile and a recruiter reached out to her. In fact, when the recruiter reached out to her, she thought it was a scam. She came to us. We looked at it. We said, what's the worst that will happen? They're not asking for any personal details. They want to have a phone conversation with you. And she had the phone conversation. We prepped her on what to say. Okay. After that, it went into the next stage with the hiring manager, a technical interview. And by the end of the day, Vanessa landed that job as a data analyst working in France, even though she had completed her data science program with us. She was doing her internship at that time. So data science, landed a job as a data analyst. All right. So the big question these professionals ask themselves is, what do employers want from me? So ask yourself the questions, what do employers want from you? You need to ask yourself that question. And if you can answer the question, it gives you a full picture on what you need to do. And employers want just two things. And these are the things that would make the difference for you. If you have these two things, including selecting the right career path, the high demand career path, you've solved 80% of the problem of landing a job. The other 20% is what Chukwuemeka would come to walk you through. Okay, so what do employers want from you? I want us to walk through this analogy very quickly. Imagine you want to buy a dress, a wedding dress, and a suit. You have two tailors. The first tailor has a certificate. It's hung at the back of his shop. You can see a certificate that says he's gone to tailoring school. He was good in tailoring school. And you have tailor B, who has a shop. You can walk into that shop. You can see the dresses tailor B has sewn. You can see the suits, feel the quality, touch the material, see the finishing. Who would you trust to make your suit for you and to make that wedding dress, A or B? Just type into the chat, tailor A or tailor B. Kemi says B, Joy says B, Adiola says B, everybody says B. Obviously B, that's what Bumi said. Obviously B, it's a no-brainer. And the reason why you choose B is simply because we want to see what you have done. Don't tell me you can't do it. Don't tell me you have a certificate from Yale or you have a degree from London School of Economics, or you've studied, you have a master's, you have a certificate. It means nothing and it's useless in the grand scheme of things. Unfortunately, a lot of people position themselves, sorry about that, a lot of people position themselves as tailor A. So you find yourself explaining, you find yourself wondering why you cannot land a job. Changing that narrative and focusing on tailor B, who has the evidence, you can walk in right there, you can touch, feel, see the quality, and make a decision. This looks like somebody that can do the work for us. You need to start positioning yourself as tailor B. And what does that mean? Going back to the question we started with, what do employers want from me? They want you for your skills and your experience. And when you combine the two together, this gives you what? Competence. Skills plus experience equals competence. Now, for the skills, a lot of people think, I know how to get the skills. I'm going to watch YouTube. Or I know how to get the skills. I'm going to do Udemy. I know how to get the skills. I'll do this. Trust me, I've been there myself. Chukwuemeka has been there. Thousands of people have been there. But guess what? They all realize too late that they've wasted time because it's not structured. You don't have guidance. You cannot stop to say what you're doing is wrong, or what you're doing, I'm not sure, or what you're doing, I think I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm not getting the right answer. Can I share my screen? You don't have a professional that can walk you through. All right. So learning the right way is very important. Most people learn the wrong way. Now, the most difficult part for a lot of people is experience. So let's assume, maybe I have the skills, but do I have experience? Am I like tailor B? Can you see what I've done? Can I show you what I've done? Do I have on my LinkedIn that I currently work in that capacity? Just like I showed you, William. Okay. Do you have in your profile that you currently work? You want to get a job as a data analyst. Do you work as a data analyst? Have you worked as a data analyst? Do you have that evidence? Just like tailor B. If you don't, and this is where people struggle, they don't have the experience. So how do you gain the experience and what do you need to do? I'll walk you through that in the next 15 minutes and Chukwuemeka comes back. Okay, so skills plus experience gives you your competence. And for us, we have a phrase at Analytics, competence over credentials. Competence over credentials. You might want to write this somewhere because this is the phrase that changes so many things for you. Competence over credentials. Having the right skills, learning the skills the right way, and having the experience far outweighs anything that looks like credentials. Nobody cares if you studied in University of Legon in Ghana or University of Ado-Ekiti in Nigeria. Nobody cares. Can you do the job? Have you done it before? If you're in Canada, have you worked in a company in Canada? in that capacity, that puts you right above of anybody who has multiple certifications. So how do you gain the experience? How do you gain the skills? All right. So you know what employers want. They want me for my competence, skills, and experience. How do I gain the skills? I must first of all get in a career path that is in high demand before I start learning. So we looked at where the world is going. We can see where the world is going, the US, Canada, across Europe, the UK. Which career path can I find myself in? Lock into that. So in 2026, when Adeza is holding a session like this, my picture would be there. Oh, I got a job after joining a Analytics session. I knew what to do. I applied and I got success. Okay. So how do you start? How do you get into a career path? What we do at Analytics is we do a job analysis, identify the high demand areas. So we look at different job boards, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Civil Library, Workopolis, UK Visa Jobs, ZipRecruiter, Indeed. We look at all these platforms, look for the high demand roles. And again, we don't stop there. We go to the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports to look at a global view. So where is the world going in terms of jobs? Which jobs would grow in demand and the ones that will decline in demand? The most recent report by the World Economic Forum was released this year in January 2025. And I've kept the link right there for you. Okay. So if you click on that link, it takes you to the report. You can read the report. You have a good understanding of where the world is going. So we looked at that to validate the analysis we had carried out right here. And finally, we looked at the different regions. We looked at the UK eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa, the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rate in the US. And in Canada, we looked at the provincial nominee programs across multiple provinces. And we came up with 10 career paths that if you find yourself in this career path, you are in high demand. Number one, you're in a career path that would grow within the next 5 to 10 years. Number two, and you're in a career path that is also high in terms of getting visa, getting sponsorship in the UK. They're eligible for sponsorship. In Canada, accelerated pathway to provincial nominations. And in the US, they are the titles, the job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance. And these are the 10 career paths. And this is where the journey all starts from. Okay. Business analysis, data analyst role, the data scientist role, the agile project manager, the data engineer, cybersecurity analyst, HR analyst, financial analyst, DevOps engineering, and last but not the least, product design. So all the success stories I shared with you today all fall within this career path. From the healthcare assistant who became a business analyst to Emmanuel, who is on the call with us today, who landed a job in the US with one of the top banks in the US. Emmanuel joined financial analytics. To William, that I just showed you his LinkedIn profile, who joined data analyst. To Vanessa, who is in France, who got a job after completing data science. To Tony, who had experience in aviation back in Nigeria, she joined Agile Project Management. Gad, who was in the UK, landed a job with the NHS sponsorship, joined data engineering. Chukwebuka, who is in Ireland, joined cybersecurity. Amaka, who is in Canada, works with Sask Energy as a HR data analyst, joined HR analytics. Now, why wouldn't you see DevOps engineering success stories or product design? These are new programs we launched last month. Okay. And we launched this program simply because when you look at the analysis from the job board, you look at the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs reports, you look at the eligible occupations, high demand for the skilled worker visa in the UK, US, Canada, across Europe. These are career paths you also want to get into. Okay. So once you selected the right career path, the second question is learning the skill the right way. A lot of people don't know how to learn the right way. So Adeza, learning is learning. What do you mean by learning the right way? This is how you learn the right way. When you learn the right way, you work in a project-based environment. You learn in a project-based environment. And what does this mean? It means learning by doing the work. You want to get a job as a data analyst, do the work of a data analyst. You want to get a job as a HR analyst, do the work as a HR analyst. Not theories, not assumptions, not made up data. You work by doing the real work. Okay? And once you've done that, nobody knows you. Nobody cares about you out there in the world. So you need to showcase your work. So people start to care about you. They start to see what you've done and they start to endear themselves towards you. That was what Vanessa did. And today Vanessa landed a job in France. So once you've worked in a project-based environment, you've built projects, you have them somewhere in your portfolio. You must build a portfolio. Number one and number two, this is the right way to learn. And I'll show you this practically in 30 seconds. All right. So when you join Tenalytics and you learn with us, you learn in two ways. There's a self-paced and there is a live class. Self-paced and live class. Self-paced is your own convenience, any day, anytime, anywhere. You open your LMS, you watch your videos, you practice, you solve problems, you do tests, you complete case studies. And then you have the live class where you sit down with a professional and you work on problems together. You solve problems, learning in a project-based environment. Okay, and I'll show you what that looks like in the next 30 seconds. Okay, so if you go to a typical Tenalytics class, for anybody who joins us or works with us, you have a dashboard like this. This is your learning management system, the LMS. So you'd see the course you've registered for. So let's say I'm like Emmanuel, who is going to speak in a few minutes. Emmanuel joined our financial analytics program. Okay, so if you click on continue learning, it takes you to your classroom. So Emmanuel, for example, can learn accounting fundamentals. I want to know the accounting equation, the double entry principle, or I want to learn something else, okay? I want to learn, let's see, ratio analysis. I can click on this at my own convenience. I play the video and I watch how ratio analysis is carried out. And this video created by a professional, Jenas. Jenas works with Deloitte as a senior financial manager. And this is the person working with you, teaching you. Jenas worked in the UK. He's worked for companies in the US as well. And these are the quality of the professionals that work with you. So this is your LMS. You watch your videos, see how these things are done. You practice. And at the end of the day, like I said, all these things you do form part of your work experience. All right. So this is how you learn in the LMS. Okay. You have an interview coming up. You don't need to fret. You don't need to worry yourself. All you need to do, go back to your dashboard. You'd see the interview prep button. Click on that. Book your interview prep. What stage of the interview? First round. Date of the interview. Select the date. Let's say it's on Friday. The link to the job you've applied to, you enter that right there, upload the CV you've used to apply, and you book your interview prep. What happens? Before your interview happens, somebody would join you on a one-on-one call, help you solve that problem. You work together, and that's what gives you the confidence. You know you can preempt the questions that would likely come up during your interviews. So this is your LMS, your number one resource. But let me walk you through categorically. How does this convert into work experience? So in your classroom, where you have your live classes, I'll use this as an example. This is a data science class. One of the classes they did in machine learning is loan defaults. Okay. So if I click on this case study, so when you have a live class, you work on real problems. Remember, learning by doing the work. So you solve problems. You don't just learn how to use tools. You learn how to solve problems. So if I click on that, you'd see the project that they completed. It's for a company called Loanalytics Incorporated. And you'll be building a loan default prediction model. So this company currently has non-performing loans. Okay. And they want somebody to build a model that would help them identify customers that are likely going to default on their loan. So you look at the case study together, you look at the problem statement, you look at the rationale of the project, and you start to work on this problem. And you don't work on it alone. You work on it together with your facilitator in class, a live class that happens every Saturday. So let me show you what the live class looks like. So that project, you work on that with your facilitator. Okay. So this is your facilitator.
Yes, yes.
All right. And you're solving this problem, the same problem for that company. You look at the case study together and you solve the problem. Now, when you solve this problem, build the model that can predict that customers will default. You add that to your portfolio. Because that's work experience. When I get into an interview and they ask me, tell me about a time you built a machine learning model and how did it impact the organization? I can speak about this project on Loanalytics Incorporated, step by step. And because you did not walk alone, you had guidance, you would have built an outstanding, exceptional solution to that problem. Because in a live class, you can stop and say, I have questions. Can I share my screen? If I miss this class, for example, I can always come back to my classroom and I can watch the video over and over again. Okay. Now, when you complete this, you build a portfolio, you upload to that portfolio, and I'll show you how this works and how it becomes your work experience. So let's check somebody else. Let's go to Victor's profile. Okay. Victor is a data scientist, completed his program with us. If you go to Victor's LinkedIn, you have access to his portfolio. If I click on this, it takes me to Victor's portfolio. Now, your portfolio is your shop. Just like that tailor that has dresses and suits, your portfolio is your shop. That is where people can walk into, they can see what you've done, they know the quality of the work you bring to the table before they even speak to you. Now, if I go to Victor's portfolio and I scroll down, I can see what is built: AI-powered customer care chatbot, loan default prediction, that same project completed in class. I can see that right here. So I come in here, I want to see what was done. I click on that and I can see what Victor did, how he completed this project. I can read the documentation if I want to. Better still, I can see how he solved that problem. So I can look at the codes that he wrote as a data scientist. I can click on the notebook. And this is how the hiring manager would walk through your, portfolio before they invite you for an interview, because they want to know that you are good enough before they get to speak to you. So I can look at the codes that Victor wrote, how he imported his libraries, how he carried out his data cleaning, how he carried out his exploratory data analysis, and so on and so forth. So what has Victor done? He has learned in a project-based environment, solved a problem that a company had, took the project, uploaded into his portfolio, and he can speak about it.
Hi, Adesa, you're muted.
Yeah, thanks for that, Chukwemeka. So the link to Victor's portfolio will be uploaded on his CV and also on his LinkedIn. Just like I went to his LinkedIn and I could access his portfolio, recruiters can also access his portfolio. Very important. That's how you learn, and that's how your learning becomes part of your work experience. So now that I know these are the in-demand career path, I know how to learn, the best way to learn. The next question is, how do I gain experience to showcase to employers that I'm the best candidate for the job? I've shown you one way to do that. One way is the projects from your classroom. They form part of your projects because they get into your portfolio and people can see what you've done. The second way is through internship. So for all the programs we offer, you get to join an internship with our sister company, Amdari. So 2 months of internship where you get to collaborate. So this time around, you're not in a classroom environment. The data analyst would work with the HR analyst. The HR analyst would work with a cybersecurity professional, and you collaborate. Because in the real world, your experience is built on collaboration. You don't work in silos. The beauty about this is employers want to know that you can do the job. They want to know you have the experience, just like that tailor that has dresses and suits. They want to know you've done this before. And these projects you complete form that experience for you. And you can list Amdari as work experience. As what? Work experience. You can list Tenalytics as work experience. So when you combine your learning at Tenalytics for 6 months and your internship with Amdari for 2 months, that's 8 months learning. The amount of problems and projects you would have completed gives you the opportunity to list Tenalytics and Amdari, or Tenalytics or Amdari for 2 years work experience. There is no employer that sees you have 2 years experience within a particular area and would say you are not good enough to do that job. Once you've done all of this, what next? You must have a portfolio. Okay, so there are portfolios across all programs. If you're in data analytics, you have a portfolio. Project management, you have a portfolio. Cybersecurity, you have a portfolio, because that's your evidence. In today's world, everybody wants evidence. You must be evidence-based. You're not going to tell me what you can do. You must show me what you've done. In interviews, the questions are not define this or tell me this. The questions are, tell me about a time you have done this or you have done that. And again, you can list Tenalytics and Amdari as work experience. And I'll give an example of somebody who did that. Ene wanted to land a job in the UK as a data scientist. What did she do? She listed Tenalytics. I think she's updated her profile. She listed Tenalytics, and she also had Amdari as part of her experience. And that helped her get this job as a data scientist in product, working remotely in the UK, working for a company in the US. And she started the role in April this year, 2025. Also one of the 426 plus people that landed jobs with us after completing our program. Anna is one of them. And like I mentioned, I'm also going to show you Toyin. I'll speak about Toyin's experience a bit better. Toyin Olusanya, the amazing lady who studied English, the amazing lady who had experience in aviation. But today, Toyin is a project coordinator after completing our Agile project management program. Again, listing Tenalytics as work experience. All right. So that's very important in the grand scheme of things in helping you land the job. Number 4 is, don't forget you would need a reference. If you live in the UK, you live in the US, you live in Canada, you live in Europe, anywhere, even in Nigeria or Ghana, employers want to validate and do a background check. That thing you said you've done, have you done it before? Have you actually done it? I want to speak to that organization. I want to speak to HR, or I want to speak to your line manager, or I want to speak to whoever managed you while you used all these tools and technologies. And that's part of what we do. So when you see Toyin listing Tenalytics, you see all these professionals, you get a reference from us to validate your skills, to show that you've done this thing with us, you can do the job, and you can do the job for that other company you are moving into. A reference would look like this. This is a reference that came from the NHS in the UK. If you look at the attachments right at the bottom, you'd see the NHS logo somewhere. Okay, this was a participant who got a job as a senior project manager with the NHS after completing agile project management. Dear Deza Suleiman, these candidates got a job as a senior project manager. They've been offered the post and they've given the permission to approach you for a reference. All I need to do, I click on this link, I fill the link, enter all the required details, and that's what validates your skills. Very important. All right. So you can see that it's a step-by-step approach or strategic, methodical step. Nothing happened by chance across all the people that landed jobs. Okay. So Chukwuemeka would come speak for about 10 minutes or thereabouts and show you what are the key considerations to convert your previous work experience to an advantage. And then Emmanuel would also come to walk us through his own experience. Remember, let me show you Emmanuel again. So you know why it's important to listen to Emmanuel. This is Emmanuel right here. Amazing, amazing professional. Emmanuel is in the US. Emmanuel landed a high-paying job in the US. You would hear from him yourself. Emmanuel joined financial analytics last year. And this year, before the year ended, he's landed a job in one of the big banks in the US. So Emmanuel is going to speak to us. You have the opportunity to ask Emmanuel questions, and I'm sure you would pick one or two things, okay? So Chukwuemeka, if you are on the call, over to you, right on. Do you want me to stop sharing my screen? Or do you want us to take Emmanuel before you come on, or do you want to go on before Emmanuel, speaks?
Yeah,
Hi, Emmanuel. How are you doing today?
I think we can take Emmanuel and then I'll now go on.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Let me stop sharing so people can see you well. Emmanuel. Okay. Hi, Emmanuel. How are you doing today?
Doing good. That is good afternoon. Oh, sorry, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. Good to have you on the call, and thanks for joining us today, Emmanuel.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
It's always a pleasure. So, Emmanuel, walk us through um, your experience. So, what do you do now? Where do you work? Maybe if you don't want, if you don't feel comfortable, mentioning the name of the company, that's totally fine. But you work in one of the big banks in the US. How
Yes,
did you get that job with the company? When did you get the job? How did you get the job? I want you to walk us through your experience.
of course. And thanks so much, Adeza. So I work with Bank of America. It's I can't make that a secret. And I landed the role shortly in October 2025 this year. I have been an employee of the same bank. I think I should put that out there from December 2022. But I wasn't fulfilled with what I was doing, and I needed to transition into tech. So part of my, research, analytics came up, and that's when I had the financial analysis program for 2024. And luckily for me, then I was on leave from work because my wife just gave birth. So I had the maternity leave for about 4 or 5 months, which was amazing. And I know I needed, to take advantage of the time I had just to, plug into the classes and devote my time to learn as much as I could, before heading back to work. So what I used to do before, I was involved in sales, primarily around customer relationship management, meeting with customers face to face on a daily basis. And for me, with having a newborn, my priorities kind of shifted. I needed something more flexible, something that would allow me, work from anywhere in the world, basically, without having to, meet the demands of in person. So, and analytics just was a gift, from heaven. Gold fell on my laps. I took it 100%. I was lucky to be among the few who actually saw the program to the very end, because I know a lot of us started, but some people had difficulties going through the entire program. But like I said, I was lucky, I had the time, and I also took advantage of all the capstone projects And I heard you talking about, how to build your experience. And for me, those were pivotal. I had those experiences. I listed them on my LinkedIn as things that I already did. And I think the biggest part was trying to convince my employer that, hey, this is what I do now, but now I have these skills and I would love to, pivot into this role. I think that was the biggest challenge for me. But I was able to show the value proposition. I was able to show a lot of enthusiasm and also, just show the skills. The portfolio was there. They saw the things that I'd done, and I had just one interview. I wasn't expecting that was just going to be a single interview. I was expecting multiple stages of interviews, but it was just a single interview. And they said, hey, we want to move ahead. We like you. Um, we just need to speak with your manager. If your manager gives us a green light, and then we'll proceed. But one thing I also wanted to call out is at the time, there were two roles open. There was the operation consultant open, and there was a senior operations consultant opened. But what I did was I just applied to both. And, it just goes back to what one of the things I heard my facilitator say during one of the classes. He said, with the skills you're learning, you don't want to sell yourself short. You can really apply for mid-level roles and you can get it. You just need to be confident and you need to, believe in the skills you're picking up from these classes. And I think that stuck with me and that, just made me confident like, hey, if it's gonna be a no, then it's gonna be a no, but let me apply nonetheless. And it clicked. It came with a promotion of about 50% increase pay increase for me, moved me up, and now I work, 3 days in the office and 2 days from home, just to achieve that balance as well. And now I get to do the things I love, still going back to data, looking through data, improving processes around, automation and workflows, and just the whole, great stuff that I never imagined I could have been part of if I didn't go through this journey with analytics. But yeah, just to summarize, that's my entire journey. And yeah, just to encourage anyone out there as well. This is happening for real. I was once on the call like this, listening to other people's testimonies, and I can't believe I'm the one sharing my testimony now. So yeah, but thank you so much.
Absolutely fantastic. That was inspiring, Emmanuel. So you mentioned something that was very instructive, and I want you to just touch on that a little bit more. Now, for so many people, and I always tell people this, okay? People ask me the question, oh, Adaiza, which one is easy to get into? Is it business analysis? Is it data analytics? I want to do the easy one. And I tell them something. There is no easy way out. If it were that easy, everybody would be doing this thing. Okay. So what you want to do is the same commitment, the same level of dedication it will take for you to become a data scientist is the same level of dedication it will take for you to become a project manager. All right. So what made you stay? Why did you see it through? And the reason why I asked this question, Emmanuel, is because for people who are dedicated to the journey, the result is almost certain. Okay, if you complete the program, you complete your classes, you go through the projects, or even if you miss classes, which is normal, you can always go back to watch the recording. But you do that and you're consistent across the program, you'd achieve success. So when people listen to your story, it's inspiring, but I'm sure it took a lot of hard work. I want you to touch, a little bit on that, the work that it took, and why it's important for you to dedicate yourself for 8 months, go through the entire process. So just talk about that a little bit more, Emmanuel.
Yeah, of course. And I think primarily for me, getting into the program, I was able to, I tell people you need to have a very strong why. The why would be what pushes you to keep going, even when it's tough. You can always look back at, wait, what am I exactly is my goal? What am I looking to accomplish? Um, for me, my why was a very strong one. I had to do this. There was like, it's a deal breaker if I don't do this. Something is going to break. It's like life is going to be totally not worth it. So I had a very strong why. That was my first step, in the direction. There were tough days, especially for someone who lives in a different time zone. If you're in a different time zone and some of the classes on Saturdays, are live classes. So sometimes it might be difficult for you to be on the same time zone as, someone who is in Nigeria. So that was a very big challenge for me. So, but, it was, like I said, going back to you having a very strong why, I made it a point of duty to wake up, 4 a.m. on Saturdays so I could be part of the classes and then ask questions. While we were even talking today, I try to log in back to my dashboard to see if I still have access to some of those courses, and I still do. So it's like it's a lifetime program. It's a lifetime access you get once you're on the program, and you can always go back to those courses. You can always go back to checking those topics you discussed in class, should in case you forget something or the others. So it's definitely very flexible, and life happens. We know sometimes you might not be able to go all throughout the program, but you also have a one-on-one session. And from the CV prep to the check-in sessions, all those sessions will prep you, in order to make sure that you're actually accomplishing your goal at the end of the day. And yeah, that was basically my journey. It was tough. I wouldn't say it was going to be easy, but you need to remind yourself consistently of why am I doing this and what do I intend to achieve at the end of the day. And it's not going to be forever. It's just going to be for a phase. It's going to be for a period. And once you get that dream job, you're going to forget all the hassle and all the stress you faced during the process. But yeah.
Fantastic. There's a saying that things are always better at the end. And if it's not better yet, then it means it's not yet the end. So it's just for a period.
Yeah.
I need to be dedicated for this period. It's going to be tough. It will require some sleepless nights from me, some reading. I have to burn the midnight candle again. But at the end of the day, here you are a few months after you've achieved your dreams, achieved your goals, and it's what's the next thing for me? So absolutely phenomenal. Chukwemeka, I don't know if you have a question for Emmanuel, or if anyone has questions, you can type into the chat and Emmanuel will take the question. Chukwemeka, over to you.
Yes, I just have one question for Emmanuel while we wait for the person that wants to ask a question. So Emmanuel, for the program, there are several different categories, right? You have your technical training, you have your employability skills, inside which you have your interview prep sessions. I don't know whether you participated in any of the simulated interview sessions. Were you in any of them?
I listened, but I didn't step forward to be interviewed. And for me, I think that's you need to know yourself. You need to know how you learn. For me, I learned by listening, and I was also part of those sessions as well. I listened, saw how people performed, pick out the key points, what I needed to, learn to drive myself, and I just pushed myself, to do things on my own, and pretty much that's how things work out for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And out of all this experience, which one will you say shaped your entire perspective of the program? Is it the technical training? Is it the employability training? Is it the mentorship session? Which of them actually shaped your own mindset entirely?
Honestly, I think each section complements each other. Right? There is no one I can single-handedly say shaped my experience because I feel like it's a whole package. The technical would have been just technical if you don't have the soft skill, the employability skill, or like putting yourself out there on LinkedIn, making yourself visible, showing your portfolio. I feel like you need access to all of this, and I think Tenalytics did a great job, identifying all these different sections and merging them into the program. But like I said, even with the technical skills, you need to show some level of soft skills. You need to know how to answer some questions when you're in the interview. And I feel like even if you have the interview and you don't have the technical skills, you're still not 100% there yet. So for me, I feel like everything for me was a combination of all those different sections.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I think Anthony's question just came in. I don't know if you want to answer that or if that's fully meant for us, but we'll allow you to also chip in one or two things to it, Emmanuel. So Anthony is asking in the comment section, someone like me has over 16 years of experience as a financial auditor, but no certificate or degree in accounting. But as a science student who is now currently lecturing in State University, what do you advise? I have had a data science training, but thinking of going into data analysis. My dream country is Canada or Australia. Anthony, Emmanuel, please feel free to chip one or two things for Anthony with regards to this. Maybe I and Isaac can also add others.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, great question, Anthony. what I'll say is definitely you want to put in for its analytics. It's if you're having doubt as to what to go for, the one-on-one, the prep session as well can help you identify what career path to go for. There are so many tools out there today. You can, research yourself. During this course of this session, Adeza was talking about, the core job demands for 2026, jobs that are being very high demand for 2026. I think you definitely have more resources than 20 years ago that you can leverage and you can build, your career journey on. But I think what most people do not understand is they feel like, I don't have the experience. So how do I get hired? And I feel like Adesa already broke that down during this session as well. For me, I think whatever field you find yourself or whatever experience you've had in the past, you must have been solving a problem. And that's basically what tech is looking for. It's not just coding and getting all these licenses and getting all these certificates. How do you solve a problem? How do you interpret what you already know, so that somebody can see you and hire you for the value you're preferring. And just like you, Anthony, I also had accounting and finance background, and basically what that means is you get to access a lot of company reports, financial reports. You get to see on a compare year to year basis, see how you're performing across different lines. So if you want to pivot into tech, all you have to do is find out what you're already doing. For me, financial analysis would be my best recommendation for you, what you're already doing, and then learning a little bit of data analysis. So learning how to use Excel, learning how to use SQL, and then bringing that to board. These are the financial reports I've worked on. This is my financial analysis, financial evaluations that I can bring to board. If somebody will see what you've done and they will look at your 16 years experience, you have to reward your CV to look as if you have been doing this for a very long time. And you'll be given a chance to come up through an interview, and all you have to do is prepare yourself, be confident, and then go ahead and show that you know what you're talking about. I think that's the biggest thing for me, is identifying that you already have the experience. You don't need any more experience than you already have. The only thing is, if you've never been employed, that's when you can say, okay, I'm in a pickle. But if you've had previous experience, you just need to figure out a way to channel what you already know, what you've already done, to align with what you're looking to do in the future. I think that's the best answer I can give to that.
All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Anthony, I hope you got that. And I'm going to add one or two things in the course of the conversation as well. And Adeza will also come in to add other things in the end. Adeza, I don't know if you have any other question for Emmanuel before we push on with the session.
Oh, no, not at all. I think Emmanuel gave a perfect response to the gentleman, Anthony, who's trying to transition. So everything Emmanuel told you, Anthony, just take it, implement it one step at a time, and you'll get to where you need to get to. Okay. So it just summarizes everything we've said right from the get-go. You don't want to showcase that, oh, I have this certificate or that certificate. You have experience already. How do you then take your experience, merge that with skills in financial analytics, which includes some data analytics skills, Excel, SQL, Power BI, and show what you've done. Okay. So you've worked as an auditor, start doing things in financial analytics. Okay. Work on statements, build reports, and so on and so forth. So when you get into an interview, your confidence would be on another level. You won't be comparable to that person who doesn't have experience, who has not done the things you've done. So confidence, people can see you, your shoulders would be a little bit higher. You should drop back a little bit, your chest forward, because you're confident in what you're going to bring to that interview. And these are the things employers want to see during interviews that gets you hired. Okay. And he said everything. So I don't want to go on and on, hammering on the same point, but experience, competence over credentials. That's what I would say summarizes everything. Chukwemeka, over to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Are we done with Emmanuel?
Yes, I think so. I think we're done with Emmanuel.
Okay. Emmanuel, thank you very much for joining. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this was wonderful.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And we hope to see you some other time as well.
Of course. All right. Take care.
Thank you very much for joining. Okay. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Okay.
All right, over to you, Chukwemeka. I almost
I
called
mean,
you,
I'm
man.
also Emmanuel, so you're free to call me Emmanuel.
All right, go
All right,
ahead.
so we are going to move on right now, and I don't know, can see a lot of questions in the comment section. So all those questions that you have, trust me, in the next 15, 20 minutes, the next slides are going to provide answers to all the questions that you have. Okay, just stick on and you're going to get the responses that you have. So the next segment we're going to be talking about is how do you convert your previous experience to an advantage? Just like Emmanuel just mentioned, he was able to transition to financial analytics because he was already working with a bank. So he had those transferable skills to financial analytics. Okay, so for you looking to also take advantage of your current or previous experience, you do not have to throw it away. You do not have to throw it away. In fact, the easiest way to transition to tech is to transition from your present company. So what do I mean by that? The easiest way for you to break into the tech space is by leveraging your existing company to make the switch. So I'm going to use Emmanuel as an example. Like he said, he'd been with a bank for over 2 years, but he was working in a department that he didn't love because he wanted to be closer to the family. He wanted to do something that is going to give him enough time. And he learned the skill and transitioned through that exact organization. And same was my own story. Okay, I studied civil engineering, funny enough, but I got into the banking industry through the compliance perspective, IT auditor, and I had to transition to tech from GRC. Okay, and that was using that same bank. So the easiest way for you to transition is always for you to look inwards, look at what you are currently doing, and be able to find a career path where it exists in the tech industry. So I'm going to give us an example before we move on. So let's assume that this is Mr. A. Okay, let's assume that this guy is Mr. A. And Mr. A, while he was, let's say, in South Africa, he was working as a teacher. So Mr. A was working as a teacher in South Africa. Teacher in South Africa. And when he moved to Canada, he was now looking for a career path in tech to break into. So what Mr. A is expected to do is to look at, oh, when you were serving as a teacher, what different things were you able to do? Okay, for example, a teacher has interaction with the students. Okay, a teacher has interaction with the parents as well, and also with the management of the school. So all these guys that this teacher have interacted with, they are all stakeholders within that establishment. So by virtue of serving as a teacher, you are actually working as a stakeholder manager. Okay, you are performing an activity called stakeholder management. So what this means is that you have actually done what we call stakeholder management. So if you are looking to break into tech, the aspect of tech that you are going to be looking at is which career path has stakeholder management as part of the skills that you need for you to excel in it. So when you look all through all those tech career paths that exist, you're going to discover that stakeholder management is a skill that exists for business analysts. So it exists for business analysts. So what this means is that it will be easier for this teacher to transition to tech from business analysis. Okay, so it will be easier for this teacher called Mr. A to transition to tech from business analysis. So when he transitions to business analysis, he can still mention, oh, while I was serving as a teacher in so and so school when I was in South Africa, I performed stakeholder management, which is an attribute for business analysts. So for you looking to break into tech, this is easiest way for you to make the transition. Okay, I don't know if we're all following with this simple example that I've just stated right now. This is the easiest way for you to be able to break into tech. By looking at what you've been doing before now, finding the aspect where all those transferable skills, all those little skills that you've been able to utilize while being in your last career path, and looking for where it exists in the tech space, and then learning that exact career path. Now, it doesn't mean that this teacher called Mr. A cannot decide, oh, I want to be a cybersecurity professional. Okay, it doesn't mean that he can say, oh no, what I want to get into is cybersecurity. Of course, he can get into cybersecurity, But the difference now is that he may not be able to have those transferable skills into cybersecurity. So it means that it is going to be longer, it is going to require more effort from him to be able to do the transitioning. Okay, and he may not also be able to leverage his initial work experience. So if you are looking to leverage those 10 plus years of experience that you've used, maybe as a banker, as a teacher, as a customer service person, as a support worker, then it means that you need to first of all find a transferable skill in the tech space for you to transition through. Okay, I don't know if that is clear for everyone. I don't know if that is clear for everyone. And what we've done from our own part is we've designed a quiz that is going to enable you to find those transferable career paths and skills that you can easily be able to get into. Okay, so we have designed a quiz that will allow you to make that switch. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring up my screen and we are going to look at those quiz, look at how you can also be able to utilize the quiz to answer the question of what have you been doing before now. Okay, so my slide should be coming up now and we are going to take it up from there. Okay. Okay, are we all still following till now? Are we all still following till now? All right, so my slide should be up now. Yeah. For some reason, it is not coming up. Just 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Okay. All right. It should be up now. Now, when you click on this link, which I'm going to drop in the comment section now, I'm going to drop the link for every one of us to also have access to it. So once you click on this link, it is going to bring you to this site. Oh, my slide is hanging. Adeza, are you there? Hi, Adeza, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. You want me to show the quiz?
Yes, please. For some reason, my slide is hanging. I think it's been up for a long time.
Not a problem at all. So if you click on that, on the link, it takes you here. Okay, so this is a recommender system. It recommends a recommender engine rather. So it recommends the career path you want to move into. So a lot of people are asking the question, oh, I'm a clinical professional and so on. What do I do? The most logical career path to move into is clinical data analyst. Okay. And you want to do data analytics and you take your clinical experience, you add that into data analytics. But there are so many questions around that. Oh, I've done banking before. Oh, I've done accounting, or I've done this, I've done that. What career path is best for me? Okay. So you click on that link and it brings you here. I'm going to walk you through what you need to do. Okay. And step by step, maybe Chukwemeka will come back, or if not, if he still has technical issues, I'll walk you through exactly what you need to do. So when you get to this screen, click on the link you have in the chat. Let me spotlight myself so you can all see me clearly. All right. So click on the link. It brings you here. So what do you want to do? Discover your path. You'll do this in 3 minutes or thereabout. Okay. So discover your path. So if I click on that, it takes me to the next step. You can read all of this, but you want to get started. Okay. So let's go. So you fill in the details. First of all, enter your name, and so on and so forth. Okay. Your name, your email, and then you click on next. So enter your name, enter your email, depending on where you are joining from. You want to enter the country code as well. And you click on next. And the reason is so you can receive the information back to you when you've completed the quiz. So if I click on next, it takes me, okay. I click on next, it takes me to the next stage. Now, what's your current job situation? So what this assessment does is it looks at your current experience. It looks at what you've done before, your personality type. For some people, they don't like to present. They don't like to lead projects. They want to walk from behind their screen and analyze do the technical stuff, and only get to present once in a month. But for others, they're extroverts. They want to present, they want to lead, they want to join meetings, manage projects. So it takes your personality type, takes your work experience, and recommends. Now, is a recommendation final? No, it's not final. What you choose is final. So if your recommendation matches what you've seen that you'd like to do, fantastic. If not, you might want to ask again that, okay, what will be the best path for me? I would love to talk to one of the career coaches at Analytics. And just like Emmanuel said, we have a one-on-one career coach session that would help you if you still have questions afterwards. Okay. So what's your current job situation? Let's say I'm going to maximize this so you can all see my screen properly. I take care of people. So maybe I'm a nurse, I'm a caregiver, I'm in healthcare. Okay, so let me choose that as an example. It's Sunday afternoon. What are you most likely going to do? So you are most likely going to, on a Sunday, what do you do? Fall down a rabbit hole, learning something new, scroll Pinterest, research security breaches, watch reality TV shows. Let me say I watch reality TV shows, okay? So you select what um, suits you the best, okay? What represents you or what properly represents your type of person. So watch reality shows. Your boss asks, why isn't this working? What do you do? All right. You check technical infrastructure, look for security vulnerabilities, check if people have the right training, think about the user experience, pull up data numbers and see what's actually happening. So maybe I interview everyone to understand the full picture. Okay. So I click on that. Excel, Google Sheets. What's your vibe? Okay. Do you prefer charts? Do you avoid spreadsheets? I can do the basic stuff, sorting, filtering, simple formula. Numbers are fine, but I care more about how systems work. I want to learn, but I'm starting from scratch. Maybe let's choose this. That's for me anyways. You choose what you think best represents your current situation. Someone says you should learn to code. What's your reaction? I don't know yet. I want to design. I'm interested in security. Maybe light coding. Okay, maybe I want to do light coding. Okay, click on that. Your dream environment, let's say headphones on, deep focus, solving complex technical, collaborate in teams, focus on improving workplace culture, creative experimentation on user testing and iteration. I'll choose this: strategy meetings, presentations, influencing. Click on next. What matters most to you right now? Money. I need a high paying job ASAP. That's the most important thing. I choose that. What legacy do you want to leave at a company? Okay. Let's see. They transformed how we operate and fix broken processes. That's how I want people to remember me. That's the legacy I want to leave. So choose what perfectly suits you. I select that. Now forget logic. What titles feels right to you? Now this is very important. Okay, it's very important. And again, remember, because you select a particular path does not mean that gets recommended to you. All right. But why this is important is what you want to do plays a major factor. Emmanuel talked about why, your why. So why you want to get into the tech ecosystem, high paying job, what career path, if you've done any level of research, what career path interests you? Anyone at all. Okay. Because that interest is very important. So let's take, for example, what feels right to me. I'd say maybe business analysis. So I click on that. Or honestly, I'm still confused. You can select any option and tap here. Okay. And you get your recommendation. So my recommendation is what? The strategist, business analysis. Why are we doing things this way? I know a better way. So the business analyst responsibility in any organization is to ensure that the organization does things better. Processes are optimized. If something takes 5 days, the question is, what do I need to do so this thing takes just 5 minutes instead of 5 days? So I'll be mapping out processes. analyzing the process, identifying gaps, identifying inefficiencies, and that helps the organization become better, faster, reduce losses, increase revenue. That's the business analyst in a nutshell. Okay, so you are the strategist, logical, systems-minded, always 5 steps ahead. Now, if this sounds like you, fantastic. If not, and you still have a little bit of doubt, speak to a career coach. Click on that, book a call, and speak to a career coach. And somebody would walk you through how to get started. Okay, but I want to know what you got after completing the assessment. For those of you that have completed, type into the chat, what did you get? I got the strategy, business analysis. So let's know the strategist, business analysis. So let's know what you got. Type into the chat. Let's see what you got. So while we are doing that, Chukwemeka, confirm if you are back or you want me to go on.
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. So Zainab got the data analyst. Fantastic. Saeed got business analysis. Linda got data analytics. Absolutely brilliant. So Araba, you have to choose the career path you want to move into, not the career path you are currently in. Okay. Because you could be a teacher, but you want to become a data scientist. So you choose what you want to do. Shukuma got the strategist, business analysis, fantastic. So that's what the recommender does for you. It recommends. So it gives you some level of comfort that, okay, this is what has been recommended. Now, what's the next step? Do I want to get into this career path or do I want to choose something else? Okay. And what we've seen is for those that go with the recommendation, they get fantastic outcomes because one thing is constant. There is a common denominator across all the programs. They're high in demand, which means employers are looking for those skills. They are high paying. Like you heard Emmanuel, Bank of America, 6 figures. His salary increased 50% more when he got into that new role. So they're high in demand, high paying, and they're also career paths that are not just relevant today, but are relevant for the future in the next 5 to 10 years. You still stay relevant because you are in a high demand career path. All right. Let's see more. Okay. So if you've taken the quiz, I got HR analytics, I got data analytics. Fantastic. So Chukwemeka, over to you from here. So I'll stop sharing.
All right. Thank you so much, Adeza. I can see a lot of people have actually gotten a career path that they need to transition into. And if you are yet to get it, please make sure you fill the attendance form so that by the time we are done with this masterclass, you can easily get the slide, click here, take the quiz here to find out. Once you click on it, you can easily be able to also take that same assessment. Okay, remember what we're talking about. The easiest way for you to actually leverage your 10 plus years of experience and be able to break into tech is by looking at what you've been doing before now and where it fits perfectly into the tech environment. And once you've ticked off this number one, number two thing I want you to also be able to do is to look at how do you actually position yourself towards moving into that career path that you're looking to get into. Okay, and that is where your LinkedIn and also your CV match becomes very, very important. Okay, you do not have to entirely open up a new LinkedIn or start to, throw away the initial things that you have in your CV. No, remember, they are your point one, and where you're trying to get into is your own plus two. Okay, so once you are able to build that career path that you want to get into, identify that career path rather, and then you have started positioning your profile to also look towards that direction, you're already on the correct career path for yourself. So I have a question for you now. Let's assume that today you passed maybe your neighborhood. You're seeing a new building that they are currently started to build. You passed through the foundation, and from the foundation, they moved up and they roofed the house. And then you saw another house that suddenly you are seeing one new house in your environment. You didn't know when the foundation was done. You didn't see anything. So which one are you likely to tilt towards? The one that just appeared overnight or the one that you gradually saw the foundation, the building, to the roofing, and to the decoration and everything? Which one are you going to tilt towards? Okay, most time we are all going to tilt towards the one that we saw when it started and it was built, perfected to our own expectation, because it's meeting what we want. So that is how your own LinkedIn is also going to be showing this story to an extent. So if you appear overnight, there may not be a touch point. There is no story for people to actually see, oh, this person actually is a data scientist right now. Okay, because majorly the issue that people have is, how do I actually start positioning myself? Today, I'm a teacher. Tomorrow, how do I start positioning as a data scientist? It's by that gradual transition, building up your CV, building up your LinkedIn till it gets to where you want it to be. And of course, you need to learn to follow your instincts and of course your convictions. Okay, so you need to consider what has worked for others when you are making your own decision. For instance, we're all on this call, we heard what Emmanuel had to say. And if anybody has, let's say you used to work in the bank, you're an economist, you have any financial possibilities in your initial experience, I expect that people to be tilting already towards financial analytics, because clearly you have seen that it is what worked for Mr. Emmanuel. Okay, so that is already a conviction for you to tilt towards. And of course, you need to also still, if you're not sure, on that same link that you did your quiz, you have a place that can easily click and you have a one-on-one conversation with us. It's entirely free. And we're going to look at it and be able to help you make a decision. Okay, but once you've passed through this stage of selecting a career path, what next do you need to do? Now, this is where some people make mistake. Okay, because you've identified that you have transferable skills towards any of these sectors. Some people are going to run off instantly and brand themselves, oh, I am now a cybersecurity person. I'm now a data scientist. That is not so. So that identification is for you to see, okay, what I've done before, I have transferable skill into this career path, which means the first thing that you need to now do is to learn that skill. Okay, to learn that skill. Once you are able to learn that skill, you can now be able to mention and understand deeper processes that exist there. Okay, for instance, still using the Mr. A, I use as an example. Okay, Mr. A used to be a teacher, now trying to transition to business analysis. After getting that business analysis training, he's now going to identify, oh, this activity that I was actually performing in so and so establishment is actually something that tilts towards a business analyst. So whenever he's now speaking, he can comfortably mention, while I was working with so and so in South Africa, I performed this, I did that. And they are all experience, they are all histories that he's going to use to position himself as a business analyst. Okay, and after learning, next one is packaging. Now, packaging is very, very, very important. You heard when Emmanuel was speaking, I asked him, will he tilt towards technical skill or towards employability skill? And his response was that both of them complement each other. Okay, so you can't just say, oh, I prefer my CV to be optimized or my LinkedIn to be, top notch, or to have a portfolio without actually learning the skill. Okay, but once you are done with that first step of L, which represents learning, next one is packaging yourself. So at this stage, we are going to help you optimize your CV. All right, so 2 months into the program, we are going to work on your CV and provide you with a standard CV that you're going to now be able to utilize while applying to other jobs. And also walk you through how you can also position your LinkedIn to be top-notch. Okay, if you saw Mr. Victor's LinkedIn when Adeza was presenting, you're also going to notice that he has positioned himself in a way that recruiters can reach out to him. Vanessa got a job through LinkedIn without actually applying to such jobs. Okay, so but all these will be perfect if your LinkedIn is optimized. LinkedIn still remains the easiest, the fastest, and the cheapest means of hiring. So most recruiters are always going to tilt there to headhunt before they even do any other thing. And of course, your portfolio is very, very crucial. Okay, because you need to be able to show evidence of all the jobs, all the experience that you say that you have. You need to show evidence of them to your future employers. The mentorship session also crucial, as well as interview prep sessions. When Adeza was presenting his screen, you saw that if you land an interview invite, you can easily be able to choose any time of yours for us to be able to prepare you for that interview that you're going for. And we're also able to provide you with job references and recommendation letters at any point that you need any of those things. And very, very crucial, on the job support. You've landed a job, but you're still struggling for you to find your fitting. We are fully here to also support you till you are able to scale. And then applying. This is also very, very important. This makes up the entire framework of learn, package, and apply, LPA. Okay, for the application itself, what we do from our own side is that we scrape different job boards available out there and present you with a link for you to apply to them. Okay, and also teach you how to tailor your CV down to the specific job that you are going for. But then we now expect you to apply to these jobs. Okay, our now expectation is that you are going to be able to apply to them. So once you are able to move from learning to packaging yourself to applying to the job, you are definitely going to land on this last option, which is you have gotten the job. Okay, so this is the same process that every single person that passed through 10 Analytics, the over 3,000 people that have moved from our classroom to landing their jobs, this is the same framework that they all used, and they were also able to land a job. Okay, so your own story would be also the same if you apply the same principle. Now, the next segment is now, what skills must you have for you to land these jobs? Okay, you've selected or you've seen that your transferable skill is towards business analysis. You've seen that transferable skill is towards this and that. What exactly do business analysts do? What exactly do data analysts do? What exactly do cybersecurity guys do? So I'm going to explain all of them as fast as possible so that we also understand the career path that we have selected. So for business analysts, these are simply professionals that come into organization to optimize all the processes that exist in that company. Okay, I'm going to use the banking sector as an example. If you walk into a bank in Nigeria as at 2012, 2013, you're going to see large crowd existing. Now, over time, business analysts started asking questions of how do we remove people from the banking hall, which simply means how do we optimize this process so that it's going to be more efficient and not have large footfalls in the bank. Now, these are business analysts constantly asking this question. It led to the development of shelf. If you walk into the bank, you're going to see a form shelf. It led to USSD, it led to mobile apps, it led to internet bank, and to several other new developments that we're seeing coming out from the bank. But it started off from one single question: how do we remove people from this banking hall? So these are what business analysts do, optimizing the process and making sure that everything is optimized to enable the business better. But for you to be a business analyst, first thing that you need to understand is you need to understand data, which is why you are being walked through Excel, Power BI, and SQL. So you need to understand data, okay? And then you move on to process mapping, project initiation planning, and then Agile and Scrum for projects. Because for you to develop a project, for you to optimize a project, you need to understand how to even initiate the planning phase. So this is a borrowed course from project management. And then lastly, you now move towards your core business analysis courses, starting with your software development lifecycle to your requirements fundamentals, and then how do you elicit information from your colleagues or from your customers or from any person that is involved in that exact process. And then, of course, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and then very, very important, ChatGPT for business analysts. So clearly, you'd see that you are learning several tools, starting from Excel, SQL, Power BI, Lucidchart, Draw.io, Confluence, Jira, and of course, Trello. So it's very important that you understand what this entails. So if you've selected business analysis, you need to also note that you need to be someone that should be ready to converse with every stakeholder in your business. So if you don't love speaking to people, if you don't like talking to people, you may want to soft pedal on going towards this career path. Because it's very, very important that we understand what each and every one of them entails. And the beauty of this is that when you are done with business analysis, 2 months when you've joined, you can start pursuing career paths that exist in data analytics. After 2 months again, we expect to start pursuing for the ones in project management. And then 2 months after, we expect you to also start shooting for business analysis. So this gives you a pathway towards 3 different career paths: data analytics, project management, and then your core business analysis. Okay, but for you to get into data analytics and project management, there might be some internal needed, the personal development that you need to do. But over the last couple of years, we've seen our business analysts land jobs as data analysts. We've seen them also land jobs as project managers as well as their core business analysis. And if you are someone that you're looking to get into a career path that's it's entirely no code area in tech, and you have some qualities like leadership skill, you can coach people, and you can mentor people to be able to do things. We are looking for an aspect of tech where you are not doing anything calculation at all, then you should be looking towards agile project management. Okay, so these are simply people that come into organizations to manage project teams, making sure that everyone is working using agile methodologies. All right, you are not doing anything calculation, you are not doing anything coding. In fact, this is where we call the no code area in tech. So if you are someone on this call and looking for an aspect of tech without anything coding involved at all, you should be looking at agile project management. You'll be learning Confluence, also learning Jira as well as Trello. Okay, and then for the classes holds on Saturdays alone. I know there have been a lot of questions around class time. On Saturdays, we'll have two classes. One starts by 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. West African time, and the other one by 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time. All right, so if you're in UK, if you're in Africa, the morning class will be suitable for you. Why? If you're in North America, that's US or Canada, then the evening class will be suitable for you. Now, moving on also, we have the data engineers. So I'm going to try and explain this guy using the plumber approach. So if you work in construction or if you've visited any construction company or if you live in a house, actually, the plumber, their responsibility is to make sure that water flows seamlessly from the overhead tank or from the water source around the entire house, supplying water to the kitchen, to the WC, to the shower, to the tap, and every single where. That is how data engineers, they are responsible for making sure that data flows seamlessly throughout the entire ecosystem. All right? They operate with one basic principle that we all should know, which is ETL. They extract data from a source, they transform it in the IDL, and then load it to the database. Okay, data engineers are very, very heavy on coding. So if you are someone that you love to be on your own, you have a knack for writing codes or you want to learn, then data engineering should be for you. And they're going to be learning SQL, you're also going to be understanding Python, also Linux operating system, as well as your ETL pipeline. Then how do you automate all these processes? That's where Apache Spark and Apache Airflow also come in. And you're also looking towards cloud engineering. You should be having your direction towards data engineering because you're going to be learning GCP, you're going to be understanding Azure, as well as AWS. Okay, also you're going to be learning your GitHub and then ChatGPT and your Copilot. So if you have a knack for coding, you should be coming towards data engineering. Let me tag this one as heavy on coding. And then next one that we have here is data scientist and data analyst. So I'm going to explain these two guys together. Under analytics, we have three different aspects of analytics. Number one is what we call descriptive analytics. Number two is what we call diagnostic analytics. And number three is what we call predictive analytics. So descriptive is going to tell you this is what happened here. Okay, descriptive is going to tell you this is what happened here. Diagnostic is telling you this is why it happened. And then predictive is going to tell you this is what is going to happen in future. So data scientists come into the business to answer this question as well as building models, predictive models that is going to tell the future. Okay, using statistics, using your Excel, Tableau, and SQL. So data scientists answer all these questions that you are seeing right here. So number 1 to number 4 prepares them to also function as a data analyst. I hope we are all listening clearly. Now, all data scientists can work as data analysts, but not all data analysts can work as data scientists. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you're going to say, oh, let me move towards data science because of this singular action. No, because there is coding embedded here. There is slight coding that is involved. And if you move towards data science and you don't want to be involved in coding, it means that you're going to drop off at a point. Okay, because for you to build predictive models, you need to understand Python programming. You need to understand your machine learning algorithms as well as computer vision. So this enables you to be able to build all those predictive models. Okay, so I'm going to tag data science to have slight coding involved. Okay, and then we'll move on to data analytics. So these are also people that come into the businesses to solve problems, okay? Solving problems using data that is already existing in the company. That's why the first thing that you are going to be understanding is problem solving. Okay, you need to understand, how do I solve problems for this business? How do I make sure that they don't repeat the same mistake that they've made over and over again? So you're going to be learning Excel, SQL, Power BI, as well as Tableau. And then how do you also tell a compelling story? Very, very, very crucial. So data analysts simply answer these questions of what happened, why did this happen, and then also make prescriptions towards recommendation on what needs to be done. So if you are someone and you've interacted with data, so for every single one of us on this call, by one way or the other, you must have interacted with data. It means that you have a pathway towards data analytics. And if you've had experience or you don't mind moving towards predictions and slight coding, then you should take it a top notch towards data science. Now, I'm going to say this because I noticed that many of us on this call, we all have maybe health background. If you're coming from the health sector, let's assume that you are a nurse as of now. Most nurses actually use this same principle that I just explained now to also work in their various hospitals. A client or a patient rather walk into the hospital. First thing you try to do is what we call descriptive analytics. Okay, you're trying to find out, oh, what happened to this patient? And the next layer is you're trying to diagnose to find out why that happened. And the next thing you're now trying to do is, what am I going to do to prevent this from continuously happening? So it means that if you are coming from nursing background, if you are coming from health-related activities, you actually have a pathway towards data analytics because you've been performing this activity over and over again. The difference is just that you are doing it from the health space. But in these different aspects, you're not going to be approaching it from a data perspective, right? I'm going to move a little bit faster. Next one is financial analytics and also HR guys, HR analysts. So I'm going to explain both of them together. Now, financial analysts and HR analysts are also data analysts that specialize in either financial data or HR activities. So if you look at the first four things that they are doing, it prepares you to also function as a data analyst. So the first four activities that you're going through prepares you to also work as a data analyst. Then for the financial guy, you're now moving towards your accounting fundamentals, understanding your three statements of accounting model, your income statements, your balance sheets, and of course, your cash flow. Okay, and then moving towards your actual financial analysis. And then how do you build a financial model to help organizations make decisions? Then valuation and sensitivity and scenario analysis. So if you are someone that you've been in any of the financial space before now, you've worked as a loan officer, as a recovery officer, as a banker, as an insurance officer, or you study economics, then you have a pathway towards financial analytics. Then for HR guys, after that first four programs that you're working through, which prepares you to also function as a data analyst, you're now moving into your core people analytics. How do you build your performance evaluation dashboards? How do you carry out your entire HR lifecycle management? Are you the type that knows when to do stay interviews, or do you wait till your staff have started resigning before you start performing exit interviews? That means you are still functioning as a traditional HR and you are here to optimize to being a core HR analyst. Okay, you're also going to understand how to build the different dashboards that you're going to be presenting to the management, as well as how to collaborate and automate your reports. So if you're someone that you have skills that tilts towards people or organizational skills, HR analytics should be the career path meant for you. I hope we are all still following till this very moment, or you've lost me at any point. Are we all following? Are we understanding what each of those career paths mean? Are we all still here? Please just give a reaction so that I'll be sure that I've not been speaking to myself for the last couple of minutes. All right. Thank you, Bumi. All right. Thank you, Tanisha. All right. I'm going to move on. Now, the next one is the cybersecurity guys. Now, these cybersecurity people, like we all know, there are different aspects that exist in cybersecurity. We have the blue team and we have the red team. Now, the blue team is responsible for defense, while the red team is responsible for attack. So the model that we run here in analytics is the one where we call it the medicine approach. So you know how if you want to get a medical degree as of today, you first of all go to general medicine before you now decide to specialize in a particular area in medicine. That's how this cybersecurity is also designed. So first thing that you're going to be understanding is understanding your principles of information security, okay, which is simply your CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and then availability of data. This prepares you to actually function as a risk manager. And then you're now moving towards introduction to network security, where you're now learning how to utilize different tools out there to perform. How do you use your Cisco packet tracer to analyze network threats? Okay, and this prepares you to also function as a network engineer. Then from here down to this point, prepares you to also function as a SOC analyst. How do you analyze your log? How do you do your NTM, which is your network traffic monitoring? And then, of course, how do you detect threats? And for all these key learning areas, you are using a tool to learn each and every one of them. Then after that, you now move to your penetration testing. Okay, pen tester. So this prepares you to also function as an attacker. How do you learn to break the different walls that your defense guys are building so that you can also simulate what external attackers are actually going to try and do to you? And then in the end, you learn what you call GRC: governance, risk, and compliance. So if you are someone, I think someone mentioned that they used to be a lawyer and looking to break into tech or something like that in the comment section. So if you have a law background, this career path may be for you because you're going to leverage GRC to still be able to play in the tech space. And if you are the kind of person that you easily understand technicalities, you have a knack for losing devices, surrounding it back and bringing it back to life, then you should be looking towards cybersecurity. Now, cybersecurity is somehow different from the other courses because of the different career paths that exist inside it. So for that entire 6 months, you are learning all these different career paths with analytics. Then for the other 2 months, you're now deciding, oh, I want to specialize as a SOC analyst. I want to specialize in GRC. I want to specialize in pen testing. And then you're going to choose the actual place you want to specialize. Okay, and that is when you now move to Amdari for your 2 months internship. Okay, so for the 6 months, you are learning all these different aspects. And then for that 2 months, you're now having your internship and choosing a particular career path. Now, next one is DevOps. Now, when we hear DevOps, it simply serves as the guide that the bridge between software dev and also IT operations. So, you know, when you hear about a never-ending loop, that is always like this. So this place represents development, while these guys represent operations. So that simply means DevOps, meaning we need someone that understands software dev and also understands IT operations. So most organizations are moving away from your traditional developers towards having someone that understands DevOps. They will be able to bring things from planning stage to taking it to building stage to pushing it to test, and of course, bringing it to operations, being able to run and also monitor. And then if there's now an issue, it's coming back to the dev guys, planning stage again, and back the entire cycle. So you're going to be understanding the fundamentals of DevOps before you move to your CI/CD foundations. Now, many people feel DevOps is just about CI/CD, but it's not just about that, because you are even getting towards cloud deployment, your infrastructure and code monitoring, and several other things that is embedded. So if you are someone that have a knack for also building things, development, and also IT ops, you should be looking towards DevOps. Now, for DevOps, is somehow slightly different from the class arrangement. So the class is only one on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, so it's not like the others that I've already explained, which starts from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., first class, and then the evening class by 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. No. So DevOps on its own is just one class, by 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And next one is product design. Now, these guys are responsible to bridge that human need and then a successful project. Okay, so they're responsible for building all those skeletal forms of the websites that you are seeing. Okay, and the first thing that you need to understand is your UX foundations and research before you now move on to your wireframes, visual design, and of course, your prototyping, and then your usability testing. The product they are trying to bring into life, is it usable? Okay, and then of course, building your portfolios and AI in product design. So if you've been a graphic designer and you're looking to upskill, this career path should be for you. And in fact, if you understand visual communication, let's assume your makeup skill is top notch, you should be looking at this career path. Let's also assume that you used to be an interior designer, interior decor, anything that you've learned how to visually communicate, then product design will be that pathway for you to be able to break into the tech career path. And of course, you're also learning Framer, learning Figma, which is your main design tool, and understanding cloud and how to also utilize Notion. Now, the product design class is also just on Saturdays alone, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., just one single class. And it is for 4 months. So for all the other programs that we've mentioned, they are all for 8 months, 6 months classroom learning, and then 2 months internship. But product design alone is for 4 months, and it is for 3 months classroom learning and then 1 month internship experience. Like I've said, all others that are 6 months and then 2 months. You have the unique opportunity to mention, oh, while I was consulting with analytics, I did this. Oh, while I was interning with Amdari, I did that. And these are things that recruiters want to see in your CV. And for all the sessions that you are going to be having, they are all recorded. So whether in the morning class you missed a class because you had family engagements, personal reasons, or you needed to do extra shifts for you to make extra money, all the classes are always recorded. So what we expect from you is to go through the recorded version, which you have a lifetime access to, then come back and ask questions from your facilitator, because you're going to belong to a closed WhatsApp community that you're expected to continuously ask questions through. Now, during the week, we also have what we call drop-in sessions. They are like revision classes where you also revise on what has already happened. Okay, and if you're in data analytics, data science, cyber security, business analysis, you have the option to choose any time within Monday to Friday, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, any time of your choosing that you want to have that revision class. So you can see we have like 4-factor authentication, your actual live classes itself, your recorded version, which you're expected to watch, your your community for asking questions, and then of course your drop-in session where you can book any time of your choosing to have that technical support. So aside these technicalities, on Thursdays, we have the mentorship sessions. Now, these are places where your CVs are handled, your LinkedIn optimization is handled, your interview prep also, to make sure that you understand both the technicalities and also the employability aspect of the training. Now, on Thursdays, 10 p.m. West African time, we have one. And then also on Thursdays, 8 p.m. MST, we also have another one. This is to also accommodate for people in North America, as well as for people in the European time zone. So the question for you right now is, how can you get started as of today? Okay, how can you get started as of today? And I'm going to bring back my colleague Adeza to finish up how you can actually get started and be able to be part of the people that we can have on our slides come 2026 as people that have made this decision and they were able to also make their own transitioning. Hi, Adeza, over to you.
Okay, fantastic, brilliant. I'm sure a lot of people took a deep breath and decided that, okay, that's a lot to take at a go, but thanks for providing that. Absolutely phenomenal. Now, one thing I want to mention is all the career path Chukwemeka has highlighted are all for beginners. Because I've seen that question. Do I need to have skills? Do I need to have experience? Do I need to have done this? No, we expect you are joining the program with zero knowledge, zero background. And the curriculum itself has been designed with the beginner in mind. Okay, so we hold your hands and ensure that you're able to make the transition. Now, that's on the one hand. On the other hand, the unique opportunity to list Tenalytics and Amdari as part of your work experience. For those in the UK, for those in Canada, Amdari, where you do your internship, operates out of London in the UK and out of Alberta in Canada. And Tenalytics itself operates out of Alberta in Canada. And for those in the US, you have the opportunity to list Tenalytics as somewhere where you've worked remotely from the US, working with the organization, either in the UK or in Canada. So that gives you leverage. That puts you in a position where you stand as the best candidate for that job eventually. So how can you start? That's the big question. How to get started. So we're running a discount at the moment, and Tenalytics turned 5 this year, 2025. And we have an amazing discount for everybody who stayed on the call. The next cohort starts on the 10th of January, 2026. The last cohort for 2025 started on the 6th of December. The next cohort starts in January. So for those that are ready to start, for those of you that want to get your journey in 2026 started on the front foot, this is the best time to get started. Take advantage of the discounts and jump into one of the programs. So this is where we launched. We did our anniversary events. We had 2 events, one in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and the other one in Edmonton, Canada. So we brought in alumni from different regions. They came to speak. They came to share their stories, just like Emmanuel that shared his story today. The only difference was this was physical. Okay, this happened in a physical location. That's me right there. And that's Ifemena, the co-founder. And these are people who have joined Tenalytics that came to celebrate with us. That's me right there, also speaking to amazing people. So we have a 50% off, a 50% scholarship for those of you that want to get started in 2026. So across all the programs Chukwemeka has highlighted, except product design, rather than paying $1,200 to start, you get to pay 50%. It's a one-off end of the year anniversary discount that ends as soon as the slots are gone. We have 20 slots available, and the slots are gone when all the slots are gone. So rather than paying $1,200, you get to pay just $600, 50% off. And the beauty about it is you don't have to make all payments at once. You can break your payments into multiple installments. What does it take for you to start on the 10th of January? You want to jump into class, you want to start your journey, just $150. So securing the discounts, securing your slots, you make the first payment in December. The next payment comes in January, the next in February, the next in March, and you can break that into 4 monthly payments. I beg your pardon, 4 monthly payments. And that's the discounts that we have. And for those of you who would like to go for product design, rather than $720, you get to pay just $360, 50% off as well. And I'm going to walk you through how to go about registration, getting access to the LMS, and eventually getting your journey started on the 10th of January, 2026. Okay. For those of you in Canada, for example, we got into the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity Program, which is a program launched by the Alberta government that helps innovative companies offer amazing services to their customers. So we participated in the last cohort. That's me right there. That's Ifemena, the co-founder, and they did an amazing piece on the event. And those are other, startup founders that participated in this cohort. And we also have our certification from the American Council of Training and Development, the ACTD. Okay, the links are all here. Like I said, you'll get access to the materials. You can click on that and have access to this. So that's Tenalytics and all the accreditation that comes with that. And of course, for those of you that want to read about the amazing velocity program, if you click on that, it takes you to the Alberta Catalyzer Velocity. That's me, that's Efemena. And you can read about, how Tenalytics has transformed professionals across multiple regions from the US to the UK, Canada, across Europe, and so on and so forth. So how do I register if I'm ready to register? And then we take more questions. All I have to do is click on the link. There's a link right here. You click on that link and it takes you to the registration page. And I'm going to show you how that works from my own end. And then I'll walk you through in the next 2 minutes and you have a good idea. What happens when I pay? How do I join classes? How do I do this? How do I do that? All right. So if I click on this link, it's going to take me right here. Okay. I'm just going to use a different browser so I can show you how it would look at your end when you also click on the link. Okay. So if I click on this link, it's going to take me right here. Okay. And I can select accept cookies. I go to the courses. It takes you to the courses and you decide, okay, I want to join data analytics. You can see the discount is applied. I want to join business analysis. I want to join financial analytics. Depending on the program you want to join, you select. Okay. So let's say business analysis. I click on buy now. It takes me to the page. I can read about what it's all about. I can see the curriculum, the course instructor, the job opportunities, and all of that. Okay. And eventually I go to enroll now. So the moment I click on that, you'll be required to create an account, which is pretty straightforward. So I create an account. I click on sign up. I enter my first name. I enter my email. And I enter a phone number. Okay, I enter a phone number. Read the terms and conditions, very important. Enter my first name, email, phone number, terms and conditions, accept, create account. Okay, I might have some issues with this email because I've created an account with this email before. Okay, so I'll try a different one. Or let's see if that's going to work out. Okay. Yeah, so it brings me here once I create an account. Okay, so my 50% discount is applied. I want to join business analysis, January cohorts or the February cohorts. And the beauty about this is if I have commitments in January, but I want to secure my discounts today, I select the February cohort. So I'm not going to be available in February, but I want to start in January, but I want to start in February. But I want to get the discount. I don't want to lose out on it. You select February. If you're available in January, you want to start in January, you select January. Okay. So you have the ability and the flexibility to do all of that. I want to make payments in pounds, in US dollars. If I want to pay in US dollars, all I have to do is come in here and select my preferred currency. So the currency would show based on your location. Okay. So let's say I want to pay in US dollars. I click on that. And I'll see the different payment option. I can pay up to 4 monthly installments. So if I select 4 monthly installments, it means I'll pay $150 every month for 4 months. And that equates to $600, the discounted fee, instead of $1,200. But guess what? If I make a full payment or 2 monthly payments, I get an additional $60 discount. So I get to pay a total of $540, or I pay $270 twice, and that gives me $540. All right. So that's additional discount for you. If I want to make payments in pounds, the same thing. I come in here, select pounds, and it does the automatic conversion for you. £115 per month for 4 months. This is the amount you spend one visit to Primark, one visit to Tesco. You spend 115, and this is what it takes to transform your career going into 2026. So I select 4 monthly payments, apply discount. So it's going to apply the discount for me, and I'll see all the details, the next payment date. So I make my first payment today, for example, My next payment would come in January 17th, on the 17th of January. But I can always change that after making the first payment. On your dashboard, you can change. Maybe salary doesn't come in on the 17th. It comes in on the 26th or 27th. You can always make that adjustment to the second, the third, and the fourth payment. And eventually, I confirm my information is correct. I've read the terms and conditions, and I click on Pay Now. Okay, so the moment I click on Pay Now, it shows me to where it gets to the payment. I enter my payment details. Okay, I enter my payment details. I entered this as well. Name on card, I enter my name, or you can enter any name. This is just a test, so you get to see what it looks like. Enter your postcode, and then you click on Pay. So you see the amount you're paying, the amount you were meant to pay, the discount, the 50% off, the anniversary discounts. You click on Pay. And the moment you do that, you'll be required to verify your email using a code. The OTP that I've gotten into your email the moment you created your account. So if I click on Go to Dashboard, it would request for the OTP. So I'm going to pick the OTP from my email to verify my email, 633814. Verify email, and then I'll just complete a few more details, and I get access to my dashboard. So country of residence, let's say I'm joining from the United Kingdom, the UK. Select your gender. What's your preferred timing? So there's a class dedicated to those in the US, those in the UK, depending on your preferred timing. All right. So I'm in the UK, for example. I want to join the class 11 a.m. BST or 11 a.m. West African time or British summer time. Or I'm in the US. I want to join Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Canada. I want to join 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you're in the UK or you're in Nigeria, you're in Europe, and you want to join, maybe you missed the morning class, you want to join a class later for those in the US or Canada, that would roughly be 6 p.m. your time to 9 p.m. So you have that flexibility of either choosing in the morning or choosing in the evening for you to be in class. So I'm in the UK, 11 a.m. BST. How did you find out about or select that? I heard about you on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or anywhere, essentially. So let's say Tenalytics website. You can provide an alternative email in case you lose your email, you lose your account, or whatever happens. Just an optional email. What made you register? You entered that there. I had an amazing time with Adeza and Chukwemeka. I listened to Emmanuel. I want to get what Emmanuel got. Whatever the case is, the testimonials were fantastic. You select that. You enter that there. Okay. So let's say testimonials were great. Okay. How much time can you commit? 1 to 3 hours, 4 to 6, 7 to 10. We always advise you want to commit at least 1 hour per day. Okay, 1 hour per day. So you want to do 4 to 6 hours per week or 7 to 10 hours. All right. And then you complete setup. So once you complete, you get access to your dashboard. You complete your checklists where you get to watch your welcome video, understand the class etiquette and communication, download and install the required tools. If you're in data analytics, how to download and install Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, Microsoft Fabric, and all those amazing stuff. Okay, so once you are done with this, you then get access to your videos. You can start watching. If you want to change, see your payment date, when is the next payment coming, you click on billing history, you'd see your upcoming payments and all of that. And the subsequent payments you would have to make to complete the program. Okay, you have access to your dashboard. It would always ask you to complete the checklist before you gain access to any of the videos on the platform. Okay, that's how you get to be a part of Tenalytics. This is exactly how Emmanuel that came up earlier to speak, he got access. Today, he's telling his story. Okay, you can also tell your story. You can also be a part of this. And all it takes is that one action to get started, start the journey, kick the ball rolling, and you start 2026 on a fantastic note. Okay, so I'm going to take questions for the next maybe 10 minutes or thereabouts before we call it a day. So if you have questions, you can type into the chat. If you also want to speak, we can bring you up to ask your questions. Okay, so if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'll check the charts to see if we have questions there, and then I'll come back and look and check if we have people who want to unmute to ask their questions. There were a few questions I said I was going to touch on. Extend the deadline to 30th or 31st. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do this. Narika Celestina, the discount is only available for the first 20 people. All right, just the first 20 people. Unfortunately, we can't extend beyond that. So if the discount is over today, it's over today. If it's in the next 1 week, it's over in the next 1 week. But on the 20th of December, irrespective of where the discount is, we will be shutting off registration for the next cohort. Okay, you don't need a high-end laptop, Silverline Chidi. You need a laptop that has 256 SSD at the minimum, 8 gigabytes RAM. If it's more than that, fine. But if it's 8 gigabytes RAM, it's okay. A Core i3, Core i5 is also okay. If you have an iMac, it's fine. iMac, a MacBook, that's also fine as well. Okay? You don't need something high-end. A mid-range laptop does all the job for you. Let me see more questions. I think somebody asked the question the other time that, is there any student who has landed a job? Or is there any student who has in the US who has been able to land a job? And I know I touched on Bukola's story. Let me go back to Bukola very quickly. Bukola is in the US. Just like Pavel, Bukola landed a job. Just like Emmanuel, who came to speak, Bukola landed a job as well. This is Emmanuel that came to speak to you. And this is Bukola. Bukola went to the US for her master's. And it was while she was undergoing her master's, she registered for our business analysis program. And she was able to land a job just at the point where she wrapped up. Because as a student, you have limited work hours, about 20 hours to work per week. So you can't take a full-time job while studying full-time in the university at the same time. Okay, so she waited until she wrapped up her program, and then she landed a job, first of all as a HRIS analyst, and then as a senior HR analyst in the US. So for the person that asked that question, I hope that answered your question. If they are for beginners, will I get you to professional that can tackle ML problem? Will I get you? Okay, I think you're asking, will I get to the level of being a professional that can tackle, you get to the level where you deploy your own machine learning model. So when you move from Tenalytics to Amdari for your internship, within 6 months with Tenalytics, you would have completed every single thing you need to know as a data scientist, from statistics to Excel to Tableau to SQL, exploratory data analysis with Python, machine learning, both supervised, unsupervised, and so on and so forth, computer vision, Microsoft Fabric. By the time you get into Amdari for your internship, you are deploying your own machine learning models. Okay, so you will get to that level where you know how to do the job. That's the focus for us, knowing how to do the job. A lot of people have certificates here and there, but on day one, when they get hired, can you do the job on day one? If you can't do the job, you're not confident, then you'll struggle to land that role eventually. Okay. I thought Python is supposed to be used by the data analyst. So this is a question that usually come up, Linda, but let me break it down. Okay, so you don't fall into the category of people that make the same mistake. Now, Python is a fancy tool. People think knowing Python is knowing everything. All right. Only 14% rather, only 14% of data analyst posts, job postings, have Python. Only 14% have Python. So people see Python in a job post and they feel I have to go learn Python to get that job. No. Pavel did not learn Python. He got a job as a healthcare data reporting analyst. And I can go back to the data analysts across all the different programs. You don't need to learn Python. So why major on the minor? Or why focus on the minor rather than focusing on the major? So the major skills you need, 86% of data analyst posts, job postings would have what? Excel. Would have what? Power BI. Would have what? SQL. Would have what? Tableau. Would have what? Fabric, Microsoft Fabric. So why would I leave all of this and go focus on only Python? So that's the mistake a lot of people make. I made that mistake myself when I was transitioning. I learned MongoDB and I wanted to get a job as a data analyst. And the reason why I learned MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database, was simply because I saw it on a job advert and I felt, okay, because it is there, I think I need to learn it. I have never, ever, all through my career, about 12 years experience, I've never used MongoDB in the workplace. Never. I have used it on personal projects for myself, but I've never used it in the workplace. But I learned it. So it was a waste of time because I never utilized it in the workplace. So when you look at, and that's why it's important for you to equip yourself with the right information so you don't make the mistakes that have been made in the past, wasting time, wasting energy, wasting effort. I'm not going to waste my time focusing on 14% when I can spend all that time focusing on 86%. And if you really want to learn Python, go for data science. Like Chukwuemeka mentioned, the data scientists do one thing very well. They do what? Predict the future. And why is predicting the future important? Predict for Amazon to know if they needed to hire more staff this last quarter of the year. They looked at historical data, 2024, in October, November, December, the festive period. How many orders did customers make? How many deliveries did we need to make? They look at 2023, 2022, 2021, the last 5 years, and they want to forecast into the future. So in 2025 Q4, how many packages are likely going to be ordered by customers? If I know this number, I know the number of delivery drivers I need to have on board. I need to know the number of hours people need to work. I need to know the incentives to put in place to get people to deliver packages to customers so customers still receive packages on time, and so on and so forth. The data scientist's role is to predict and forecast and look into the future to see what will happen so that companies can plan for that thing that is impending and that would come in the future. Okay, so if you're compelled to learn Python, go for data science. If you want to become a data analyst, you don't need data science because it only represents 14% of job postings. So there's no point majoring on the minor when you can take out time to, gather your skills in the core areas that would land you a job. If you're a HR professional, Fumi, go for HR analytics. Don't think about it twice. And this is the rationale. You always want to play from your point of strength. Where am I strong? Where do I have strength? Where do I have experience? What have I done in the past? If I take that and include additional skills, I propel myself, forward. That was exactly what Emmanuel did. Emmanuel had accounting background. We advised him. He knew what he wanted, but we still advised him on what to do. Go for financial analytics because you have accounting background. That would help you progress a lot faster. The learning curve would be shorter for you because you already have experience in that area. Okay. This doesn't mean that you need experience to get into the career path, but having experience gives you an advantage because you understand the concepts, you've used them before. So it's a lot faster and a shorter learning curve for you, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. So before I wrap up, I want you to listen to what's her name? Vanessa. I talked about Vanessa when I started this session. Vanessa in France, even though most of you didn't get most of you got the country flag. Vanessa, background in electrical engineering, landed a job. It's a long video, 7 minutes, but I'm going to shorten it by increasing the speed of the video. So it's going to take about 3 minutes for you to listen to Vanessa. Now, the reason why I want you to listen to Vanessa is just like you, Vanessa was in the same position, had no clue, did not understand anything in the tech ecosystem. She asked all these questions you're asking today, but she went for one. And like Chukwuemeka mentioned the other time, if you've done the quiz, you got a recommendation, you follow your instincts, but you are still confused, secure the discount, make your first payment, and you jump on a call with us. It's called the career coaching session, a clarity session. And we listen to those questions. Okay, Adeza, Chukwuemeka, I got this. I'm a bit confused. I don't know if I should select what I got from my recommendation or I should do something else. And we advise. We don't choose for you. Okay, but we advise you that, oh, I think this is good for you to go for based on my own experience, based on what I've seen that has worked before. And that makes it a little bit easier for you to decide. Just like the lady who asked, Fumi asked, I've done HR. Do I go for HR analytics? Absolutely, 1001%. And I gave the reason why. If you have experience in that field, don't think about it twice. Double down on the skill. HR, add data analytics to it. That's the HR analyst. And that propels you to so many roles. And because you've done HR analytics does not mean the only job you get is as a HR analyst. You work as a people analyst, HR data analyst, talent management analyst, total rewards analyst, and there are so many roles within that HR space that gives you the opportunity as a HR analyst. Okay, so let's listen to Vanessa in the next 3 minutes, and then we start to wrap up the session for today. I'm a nurse. If you are a nurse, you are in healthcare. If you are a nurse, you are a medical professional, you are in health. Okay, maybe I'll play a doctor's video. I want you to listen to a medical professional because it appears there are a lot of medical professionals on this call. Now, something Chukwuemeka mentioned, number 3 or 4, is follow your instincts and also consider what has worked before. So what has worked for other people is important. Because if I'm a nurse and a nurse has gotten a job as a healthcare data analyst after doing data analytics, another nurse got a job as a pathology data analyst after doing data analytics, I might consider data analytics. Okay, so let's look at some medical professionals very quickly. Let me show one of them. Okay, I'll take it step by step. I'll show you medical professionals that transitioned and also people that were from non-medical backgrounds that moved into the healthcare sector, especially within the tech ecosystem. All right, let's see some of them. Just give me 1 second and I'll share my screen now. Okay, I think I showed you this lady earlier. Okay, maybe not this one. So this is Evelyn. Evelyn had 15 years experience as a nurse. Evelyn joined our data engineering program, and today Evelyn is a data engineer. You have Arome. Arome was a medical doctor. Over 10 years experience as a medical doctor. High paying. You know how high paying doctors are, but today he's a data analyst. Toyin was a pharmacist back in Nigeria before she moved to the UK. Today, Tony is a pharmacy data analyst. Interesting job title, pharmacy data analyst. I want you to hear Dr. Arome, okay? And then I'll give you my advice on what you should do for those in the medical space. So that's Arome, Dr. Arome, data analytics, Tony, data analytics, Evelyn, data engineering. This is another medical professional, Sharon, healthcare assistant. Today, she's a business data analyst. All right. Judith was a care worker in the UK. Today, she's a business analyst. Abigail was a care worker in Canada. She lived in Saskatchewan. Now she's in Alberta. She got a job with the government of Alberta. She worked as a care worker. Now she is a business analyst. I want to show you a couple of more medical professionals very quickly. So this gentleman moved into healthcare with zero medical background. His job title was as a pathology data analyst. He was an operations manager back in Nigeria. His name is Mawutin, operations manager. He joined our data analytics program. He got a job with the NHS, full visa sponsorship as a pathology data analyst. You have Pavel. I think I talked about Pavel, the Cameroonian who moved to the US, and today he's a healthcare data reporting analyst. This gentleman right here. He's a healthcare data reporting analyst. Okay, but let's listen to one of these medical professionals. Let's listen to Dr. Arome, a medical doctor who currently works as a data analyst. I really wanted you to listen to Vanessa, but I think Dr. Arome is also it's good for us to listen to him. If you want to listen to Vanessa, you let me know. I'll still play Vanessa's video for you. But let's listen to Dr. Arome very quickly. Okay.
Hello there. I'm a medical.
All right, so let's take it back so you can hear Dr. Arome clearly. Okay, the audio is loud and clear. So let's listen to Dr. Arome. Medical background, no experience. For those of you that are worried and scared, oh, data analytics, will it blow my brains out? Okay, what will I get? Can I transition? This is a medical doctor that transitioned. So let's hear from him.
Hello there. I'm a medical doctor, and I want to give thanks to the staff in Analytics for making me a data analyst today. They are such a great people. They have a well-grounded knowledge of tech. Currently, I could say I'm an expert. I know a lot about Excel. I have knowledge in Power BI and SQL. These were things I never knew anything about. I was a novice, but today I can beat my chest and confidently say I can do a lot with these tools, and it's going to help promote and upgrade my career and make me fit into this developing world of tech. Thank you very much, Analytics.
Hi everyone, my name.
That's Evelyn, the nurse. You can see her nurse. She's in her full regalia, transitioned into data engineering. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's a medical doctor, total novice, like you heard. So for those in the medical space, this is my own personal advice or opinion on what you should consider. Number one, data analytics. So if you're in healthcare today and you want to transition the fastest, please consider data analytics, because there are so many roles in healthcare: the healthcare data reporting analyst, the clinical data analyst, the pathology data analyst, healthcare informatics, so many roles across healthcare. Right? And what you do is you take your years of experience in healthcare as a nurse, as a care worker, as a pharmacist, wherever you've gained experience in the medical space. You take that, you add data analytics to it. So it helps you take medical data, clinical records, analyze those records using tools like Excel, Power BI, SQL, Tableau, get insights and information to help medical researchers and healthcare organizations make informed decisions. Let's take, for example, I use this example in one session. Let's say there's a new diabetes medication, okay? And the medication needs to be tested across different hospitals. Let's say 15 hospitals altogether. I'd like to use my slides to illustrate this very quickly. So let's say 15 hospitals, new diabetes medication, 15 hospitals. Now, in each hospital, you have 10 patients, 10. So altogether, you have 150 patients, and you want to test the efficacy of this new drug, this new medication for diabetes. So they take the readings before, they take the readings after the medication, and so on across all the different hospitals. That data, the medical record, would be sent back to you as a healthcare data reporting analyst, as a clinical data analyst. You take that data and analyze the data. If there are missing records, you'd identify the best method to fill those missing records so your analysis still makes sense. You analyze the data for the healthcare researcher, for that organization that came up with the medication, so they know exactly what that medication does, what's the efficacy, how well did it work across all the different hospitals, the different metrics or points, data points we needed to measure. How did the medication perform across all those different metrics? You would be carrying out that analysis. You would analyze public health data, come up with insights that would lead to new policy development. I analyzed records for the UK government on alcohol-related death. We took data from Northern Ireland, we took data from Scotland, from Wales, from England. We analyzed to identify the prevalent, what causes medical alcohol-related death during pregnancy. Okay, sorry, I beg your pardon. Alcohol-related death, doing the total analysis across these 4 regions in the UK. And we found out that a portion of those alcohol-related deaths were in babies that were less than 1 year old. So how would a baby less than 1 year die due to alcohol, inducement? And we found out that those babies were still in their mother's belly, and it was as a result of the alcohol contaminating the fetus, something around that. But we got that insight from the data we had analyzed, and that led to policy development around taking alcohol during pregnancies and so on and so forth. I don't have any healthcare background. All I know how to do is use tools like Excel, Power BI, SQL to analyze data. So that's one example. Okay, so data analytics is my number 1 recommendation, followed by business analysis. So it's either you go for data analytics or business analysis. These are programs that also don't require coding. They don't require mathematics. They don't require all those complex things that you would assume would hinder you or stop you from getting to your eventual goal. Okay, I hope that helps to answer the question on the medical related questions, essentially. Now, as we wrap up our session today, I want to know, for those of you that have stayed till the end of the session, if you had a great time, you had a fantastic time today, it was a time spent for you, type in a yes, give a thumbs up, and so on and so forth. Okay, Adiola is saying, I just paid using the 2-month plan. I want to know, so your LinkedIn, your CV review, your LinkedIn optimization, and all those other stuffs around employability, they happen simultaneously during the program. We don't wait until you are done with the program before you start with your CV. No. On your 3rd month, your 4th month, Your CV is done. Your LinkedIn is done. We do the CV for you. We revamp your CV for you, make it industry standard, keyword optimized, ATS friendly, and we show you how to tailor that CV to subsequent job applications. So you know what to do going forward. All right. And your LinkedIn optimization within 3 to 4 months, that is done. So you start applying to jobs. And that's why you'd see some of the people that landed jobs, they not get jobs after 8 months. They got the jobs after 4 months, 3 months, 5 months, depending. And that's simply because your job application, if you don't apply, we put that fire under you and ensure that you go ahead to apply. Okay? Because until you apply to those jobs, the jobs you don't apply to, you lose out on them 100%. For the ones you apply to, you stand a chance of getting a yes or a no. And if it is a yes, an interview invite, that's where we do our best work. We work with you, prep you, and ensure that you go into that room and give the best version of yourself. And that's what helps you land the job. So for those of you that have registered, like Adiola, I look forward to working with you. Every single one of you. You would see me all the time in your mentorship sessions and all those amazing sessions, and would have the opportunity to interact as as much as possible. Follow us across all platforms on LinkedIn, on YouTube, Instagram. Engage with us across. Follow me on LinkedIn as well. You'd find me there at Deza Suleiman. And thank you for joining our session. It's been an amazing time with you. And I'll see you in some other session. If not in 2025, then definitely in 2026. I look forward to working with all of you during your different programs in 2026. And I hope you had an amazing time. Thank you very much for being a part of your evening, being a part of your afternoon, depending on where you're joining from. I don't know if Chukwemeka is still here to say his bye to everyone. If not, have an amazing time, guys. Cheers, everyone.